This is where the students gather to listen to Crimson Hawk football. 90.1 WIUP-FM for the student, for the fan. We're back once again with the WIUP-FM Sports pregame show. My name is Jake Slebodnick, and alongside me is Steve Langdon Jr. and new face to the pregame show, Jeff Hart. In just a little bit, we'll send it to Miller Stadium for today's game between IUP and Gannon. Jeff will be in booth. I will be on color commentary. Jamie Machin will take play-by-play today.
And I'll be in the stands.
Yeah, Steve will be in the stands being a cheer guy for today.
Nerd.
But guys, we have, IUP is coming off a fantastic win. Good rebound against Clarion University. We all know they lost by 3 against Slippery Rock a few weeks ago. Before we analyze it, thank you to all who tuned in during that game. It was a historical one in the making, so thank you for that. But guys, the IUP and Clarion game was a fantastic one, 59-21 IUP with the win. We saw lots of people who we normally don't see find the end zone and get good results. Overall, I want to hear your overall impressions for that game.
Jake, opening up with that game, obviously the offense, not enough can be said. Justice Evans had a, career high 142 yards. Malik, Hauser had a great game, over 100 yards rushing. I mean, just great rushing attack. But I want to talk about the defense right now, Jake. 7 forced turnovers. Dondre Tillman with 2 fumble recoveries. I mean, everyone getting on the board that day. Nick Amendola had an interception. It was just a great day for that defense. And to be honest, 14 of the 21 points that Clarion had, those came in garbage time after IUP was already way up on them. So really, the score doesn't reflect how dominant that defense was.
Yeah, and I think for IUP, they played a complete game. I mean, of course, we know how great their offense and defense could be, and they showed up last week throughout the entire game. The first quarter, and they don't really start out too strong, but a decent first quarter. I mean, they scored 21 points, I believe. And so I think the big thing heading into this game is that they just need to continue on what they did last week and really try and come out strong and try and force those turnovers, force Gannon into those silly mistakes.
Yeah, I agree, and that's the thing. This entire season has been the common theme of IUP being a second-half team, but it seemed a little bit different in the Clarion game. It looked like they were a whole new IUP Crimson Hawks football team, and I think what really kick-started that was that loss against Slippery Rock. But you guys named it. We saw a lot of people who who had a fantastic game. You mentioned Adam Hauser, Malik Anderson, Ryan Langdon even found the end zone, and Langdon doesn't see much time. In no relation to Steve, we had to point that out.
And Zach Kelly got on the board with a touchdown as well, got in there and got involved. And I really want to highlight the rushing attack. Just over 300 yards rushing. That is just ridiculous. I can't remember the last time IUP had such a prolific rushing attack with so many running backs. That was the thing, just the committee in general.
Yeah, the last time I saw something like this was probably 2 years ago when Justice Evans was a freshman. And, you had Chris Temple, you had, of course, Samir Bullock and Justice Evans. And what I'm seeing right now is that I'm seeing kind of the same exact team that from 2 years ago. They're just that dominant. Unfortunately, they weren't able to come away with a victory against Slippery Rock. But I think as far as the season goes, they have had a very stellar season. And their ranking really reflects upon how great their season has been, ranked 19th in the country right now. But as far as the rest of the season goes, yeah, I think that they're going to be strong. They are looking to get a playoff spot once again for the first time since 2 years ago. And I think the big thing heading into this game, of course, has to be focusing on that rushing attack. It seems to be their bread and butter kind of playbook, and it really sets up the passing game as well.
Well, and since we're kind of getting into the upcoming game against Gannon, a game today, I think the biggest thing for IUP, giving your main guys some rest. I mean, they have had a hard stretch of games the last couple of weeks. You had Clarion, you had Slip, you had Cal. You're playing some great competition, and those guys have been just run rampant, and you're going up against a struggling Gannon squad. Maybe after you get a sizable lead, even if it's the first quarter, if they're up by 3 or 4 possessions, I mean, put in Jalen Reese and those guys. We have a very capable secondary unit that has proved that they can handle it with just about the best of them.
Absolutely. We saw Jalen Reese get a few snaps in the Clarion game. Not much action, got 2 completions for 12 yards. A lot lot of people scoff at that, but look at the overall performance he's had this season. We'll preview Gannon in a little bit. We'll see how IUP can match up according to them a little bit later in the pre-show, but let's analyze IUP a little bit. They've looked really strong, and Steve's mentioned it. This is probably the best season they've had since their potential national title run back in 2017, where they made it to the semifinals. Unfortunately, came up short, but last year sort of looked like, it looked like IUP became complacent toward the middle of the season. They lost their edge. They lost their focus. We saw Lenny Williams sort of go on the decline after passing Brian Ironman's record.
The other thing that you have to put in perspective is that they did lose their defensive leader as well in Max Redfield, and I think that was a big part of why their defense didn't look as strong. But then you have players like Dondre Tillman that he's in his third year of starting, and you have those players now. You have those team leaders that are really showing up, especially Nick Amendola.
I was just going to say.
Fantastic season. He seems to be just an absolute ball hog this year. He has, I think he has the most interceptions on the team, if I'm not mistaken, and he's just phenomenal. He's able to tackle the players in open field, but he's also able to drop back into coverage. He kind of reminds me of maybe like a C.J. Mosley, that he's able to drop back into coverage, but he's also able to go and make sacks and stuff like that.
Well, and you're highlighting the linebacking core, and I don't think anything else needs to be said about Nick Amendola and this phenomenal linebacking core. But I want to bring attention. Nazir Streeter got on the board with an interception that last game.
Yeah.
J.R. Stevens, they've all been amazing parts of that secondary corner safety unit. That really has been strong. They've shut down the middle and corners of the field. That gives the linebackers and the front. It gives the front seven time to get to the quarterback, and that's how they've been so successful. How Dondre Tillman and two other players, they got on the board with fumble recoveries and just killed it early on. I mean, when you have a secondary that can lock down a player and just keep the field just clean, you can have guys get in there, blitz, put some pressure on the quarterback, and he's not sitting comfortable.
Well, the thing is that you guys mentioned it. Nick Amendola and Nazir Streeter are fantastic on the secondary game. Amendola and Streeter are actually the top two in the interceptions column for IUP, combining for 7 on the year, over 20 yards. They're definitely that core that can definitely get good clutch interceptions. It's not always a pick six for them. They just look strong. It's pretty funny, though, actually. The only pick six that we have is one of the guys on the front line. That's Dondre Tillman, which shows the athleticism and the agility by this defensive unit.
Can we just also talk about how disciplined this team has been the majority of the year?
Oh, absolutely.
They have not committed many penalties, and that has been a big factor in why they are winning these games, because they are forcing teams to commit these penalties, but at the same time, they're not committing as many penalties.
Yeah, it's a very disciplined defensive squad for IUP. Let's just see how they work out against this Gannon offense. We'll preview them in a second when we come back, but now we'll step aside for a word from WIUP-FM and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, and father of 5. I'm also an expert on drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids, and there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
Well, you can hear me on the radio.
With the best of country music from the 1950s, 60s, up through today. Tune in to Dee's Keeping It Country every Saturday afternoon from noon until 2 p.m. It's the best country on the radio.
Welcome back to the WIUP-FM Sports pregame show. Jake Slebodnick, Jeff Hart, Steve Langdon Jr. joining you just before kickoff between IUP and Gannon. Guys, Gannon comes into this contest 2-5, most likely out of the playoff race. Suffered a nasty loss, or they actually beat Clarion earlier in the season, but lost only by 1 point to Edinburgh, another team who struggled this season, and just last week suffered a massive loss to Cal U. 54-14. So they're on a 3-game losing skid right now, so they don't have as much momentum going into this one. IUP only has 1 loss on the year. What are your predictions for this game?
Jake, to be perfectly frank, this is no disrespect towards Gannon. I think it's asking a lot for a school that has to drive 3 hours from Erie to Indiana. I've made the drive before. I'm a former Erie native, so that's a long drive. It's a struggling squad going up against the now number 19 ranked, IUP squad, and they're just stacked on both ends of the field. That's just asking a lot from them. I know last game they could not get their offense going, Jake. 206 total yards combined, running and passing. I mean, and 20 rush yards. They only got the ball going 20. And given Cal U has, I think they had the best rush defense in the country, but still, that's not going to get it done. It was an anemic rushing game. And, you know, obviously they have to go up against some stout competition here, having Cal and then IUP consecutively. But still, it's not a disrespect towards Gannon. It's more of respect and props towards this IUP squad that seems to be catching their stride even after. They're showing resilience after a tough loss against Slippery Rock.
Sure.
Yeah, I think the one thing as far as Gannon goes this year is that they're going to have to force turnovers from IUP. Maxwell has had his fair share of turnovers this year. I don't think many people have looked at that stat, but I mean, it's just going to have to be about getting those turnovers in IUP territory and kind of having the short field for them to win. Although IUP is just, if they're not working it with the passing attack, they're going to go right to that rushing attack. And that offensive line with that rushing attack is just phenomenal. It's one of the best in the country. And, you know, it might be a running back by committee, but the amount of size and the amount of talent that they have is just incredible.
Well, not just that, but looking at, and we're all stat guys here. The thing about this whole rushing attack that really works for success is that Gannon is giving up at least 979 rushing yards per game as opposed to getting only 623. Not to mention, they give their opponents 11 rushing touchdowns on the season where they only accumulated 5. So we can see right now that their rushing attack, Gannon's rushing attack, and their rushing defense really doesn't pan out the way that, you know, it would come out for success. And again, like Jeff said, no dissing on on Gannon here, but it's going to be hard to do, especially when you have an IUP running back committee that has the size and speed and varies in different areas.
Now, here's the thing. If Gannon wants to take this game from IUP, because obviously on any given day, any given team can win. I think that stands for football especially. Here's the thing. Gannon struggled heavily last week on converting third down conversions, 1 out of 11 against Cal. IUP, we saw it in the Slippery Rock game, were really good at holding, but they gave up a lot of big third downs against Slippery Rock. I mean, at the end of the game, we saw that. They had Roland Rivers in the last 2 minutes. It was third and I believe about 14. They kind of gave up on the end of the play, and they gave it up. You saw that a couple of times. They'll hold you the first 2 downs and then, you know, kind of give up a little bit on third down towards the end. So if they want to take advantage of that, they have to improve on the third down conversion or else they're not going to get it done.
Honestly, I think that the slip game is kind of a fluke game for IUP. They just didn't come out strong, but absolutely dominated the second half. And I think that really contributed to the loss. But I think the one thing as far as we've seen in the rest of the games is that they don't underestimate their opponents. And they want to put as many points on the board as possible. We saw even last week they put up 59. You know, we saw them put up 77 earlier on this season. So they're putting up big numbers.
Well, and you know, the biggest thing, Steve, you addressed it, is that they don't take their opponents lightly. And the biggest thing, you know, Coach Tortorella was talking about it earlier this week. I know all three of us were discussing before the show that, you know, Clarion plays them better than anyone, and they're not going to take them lightly. I mean, you have to treat every week like it's a championship game. That's how you need to take it every single week, one game at a time, one step at a punch, one step at a time, one punch at a time, one fight at a time. I mean, you just have to keep going into each game with that killer mentality.
I agree. And IUP has definitely put up a new face this year that they don't take anyone lightly, and we've seen this all season. Especially, and what really proved it to me was that Slippery Rock game. They looked like a whole new team than they did last year. Last year they looked scared. This year they looked completely different. I'm more interested to see how Gannon does in the red zone. They in every statistical category they actually do better than their opponents. Scoring in the red zone 86% of the time as opposed to their opponents 71%. But IUP's prolific defense might change that and skew the numbers a little bit.
Now, Jake, I know you talked about stats. This is more of a gut feeling after me being a fan of football, analyst. I'm the beat writer for the football team. I try to keep tabs on what's going on. When I watch them, they're a very emotional team. And obviously when you're in sports, that you can't be in a sport and not be emotional. You dedicate your heart and soul. A lot of guys wear their heart in their sleeves because they dedicate all their time and effort into this. But I notice if Gannon wants to take advantage of IUP, obviously with the third downs, they need to improve on the third down conversion rates. But the biggest thing is if early they can get up on IUP, like just have a couple big turnovers to start the game, like maybe have an opening offensive drive touchdown and then get a turnover real quick. IUP is a very emotional team, and we saw that like in the year prior when they lost to Cal, they kind of got punched in the mouth, lost to Slippery Rock, and then lost to Shippensburg, a couple weeks after. So if you kind of get like the sideline was an entirely different team when they came out in the second half of the game against Slippery Rock. Once they got that touchdown, everyone lit up on the sideline. They were talking again. They were moving again. But that whole first half on the sideline was dead. Nobody was moving. Nobody was talking. And I get it. They were down, but like there was no one like getting them ramped up. Like, okay, guys, recover, forget about it, let's go. Like everyone was just kind of lifeless on the sideline. So if they can early get up on them early just by a couple of scores, that could make a difference because IUP gets kind of emotional, and rightfully so. They're a very strong team, and you can't be that good of a team without getting your heart and soul into it.
Well, guys, we're coming up on the tail end of our pregame show. In a minute, we're going to send it to Miller Stadium, but of course, with the three of us, every pregame show has to end with some Hawk takes. Steve, why don't you go first? What do you predict for this game?
Yeah, so I'm going to predict that Justice Evans breaks his career high. He has over 150 yards rushing in this game. And I'm going to say that IUP wins by at least 4 scores.
I'm going to say Dwayne Brown has another I'm going to say he's going to have a 4-touchdown game. Another game where he's going to continue his streak. He's had 7 consecutive games with the touchdown. I think he's going to continue that streak. He's been dominant. The last few weeks we haven't seen the prolific numbers that we saw the first few games, but still very serviceable, very respectable numbers. But I think he's about due for a big performance.
I agree, and I'm going to finish off by saying, you may say that Justice Evans has 150 yards. Wait till the second half. I say Adam Hauser's also going to get 150 yards rushing, and he's also going to have 2 touchdowns to the scoring line. Well, guys, thanks for joining me on the pregame show. We're going to send it to the Miller Stadium now with Jamie Machin and myself for commentary. Jeff will be in booth. Steve will be in the stands. If you see him there, tell him hi. But again, thank you for tuning into the pregame show. Up next, it's IUP against Gannon right here on 90.1 WIUP-FM. The home for IUP Crimson Hawks football is right here on 90.1 WIUP-FM, Indiana. Good afternoon, football fans. Joining you from Miller Stadium. My name is Jake Slebodnick, joined by Jamie Machin, and I hope I said that right.
Yeah, you did. Don't worry about that.
Welcoming you to another edition of Crimson Hawk Football 2019, right here on your alternative source, 90.1 WIUP-FM. Jamie, we are expecting a great matchup today. IUP returns home from a 2-game road trip. They split that down the middle, lost at Slippery Rock only by 3, but then picked up a monstrous win against Clarion.
Yeah, I think one thing you really got to keep in mind about that Slippery Rock game, that fourth quarter comeback, it was incredible. They really showed why they are a nationally ranked team that game, but unfortunately they couldn't pull it out. But they had a quote after that. They posted it all over social media. It said, "This will not define us." And then they went on to Clarion and they had a 32 I think it was point win, but just really showed why they are the number 19 team in the country. And you mentioned that graphic that said this loss did not define our season, and I agree completely. Both teams just making their way onto the field, that is, here at Miller Stadium, but IUP looking strong. They came back, bounced back against Clarion. We saw a big game from Quentin Maxwell and Dwayne Brown again. Jamie, I know you work closely with the athletics department here at IUP. What's your personal take on the Maxwell and Brown connection? It must be so strong. I mean, to be able to have, you got to think about how far that man can throw that ball to another person and have full 100% confidence that is going into Dwayne Brown's hands. Dwayne Brown's longest receiving pass is 75 yards here. That is an incredible, just A, a catch, B, a throw. There has to be some sort of chemistry there that's so positive. Oh, absolutely. And I know we were talking about this before we went on the air today. Just Maxwell and Brown together. Maxwell coming from the MAC at Ohio, and then Dwayne Brown really lighting it up after being, a fifth string running back last year, and leading as the number one wide receiver, number one target for Quentin Maxwell. It's been a big change, and it's been, for the better, that is, for IUP, as now we're seeing, we're seeing a lot of good chemistry from this offense. And I'm not just talking about Dwayne Brown as well. Quentin Maxwell likes to spread the ball out evenly, and that's sort of what,
that's sort of resulted in a lot of IUP victories. Is like we know last year with Lenny Williams, he'd normally stick to one guy, and it was Don McNeil throughout the majority of the season. But Maxwell likes to spread it around, and that teamwork and chemistry really adds up and leads to some victories.
Yeah, and I think when you have such a mature quarterback like Maxwell, he can recognize the amount of talent he has in his backfield with Justice Evans and Samir Bullock, but also the amount of options he has in JoJo, in Dwayne Brown, Don McNeil, and Tortorella has such confidence in all his players that he puts a lot of his running backs and punt returners in at wide receiver because he recognizes the amount of talent that's in this team.
Yeah, and I know there was a big red flag coming into the season is that there could be too much talent if such a factor exists. But I think IUP has balanced themselves very well with this because normally we see, I wouldn't say so much a power struggle, but normally it's just, you got so many elite players on the field, it's kind of hard to determine who's going to come out the best. But they put that, best player factor aside, and they go, hey, we want to win each game. We want to make it to the playoffs again. We want to show why we are still one of the dominant teams in the PSAC, and it shows. They're the tied for the third best team in the PSAC, just behind, tied I think with Westchester, I think it is, and Kutztown and Slippery Rock ahead of them. So they're reclaiming their throne, and they're trying to make a national playoff berth once again. Speaking of, before we get underway, Jamie, IUP only has one loss in the year. People will start to talk about that national playoff rank and the PSAC playoffs. What's your overall take on IUP and where they stand?
I think right now they have to continue to dominate as they have been doing against teams when they pull off a W. But at that same time, they also have to really trust in Lady Luck in getting a couple losses around the league to make sure they can, have a chance of getting into PSAC finals and also getting into the national championship. Being ranked definitely does help. They will qualify for a bowl game as of right now. However, they don't want to rely on that. They are never satisfied. They are still hurt from that loss against Western Florida. They don't talk about it. Why would you talk about that loss? It was such a hard loss to swallow, being the number one team in the nation and taking that loss. And they just got to keep up that dog mentality that they have all year.
Yeah, and you mentioned it's going to be I wouldn't say much of a difficult road for us. It's more of a difficult road for Lady Luck, that is. We got Slippery Rock, who really making themselves known as probably the top threat in the PSAC. They have a 50-50 schedule along the way, so it's going to be a little bit difficult for them to tally that first loss. And if you ask me, I think if they do tally that first loss, IUP has a fantastic chance of jumping ahead of them in the national ranking. IUP coming in at number 19 in today's game. They go against the Gannon Golden Knights. Set for kickoff here from Miller Stadium. Fourth home game of the season. We got one more after today.
We got Nazir Streeter and Kashaw Carter in the backfield ready to catch for IUP.
We are underway.
Kashaw Carter catches, and he is off. He is a very talented running athlete.
He's still running. He's at the 30, the 40, the 45, the 50, and brought down in Golden Knight territory to start off today's game. My goodness, Jamie, I thought we were going to give away a scholarship today.
That was a heck of a... He split three people. That is a great job, not just on Kashaw, but all his blockers. That is such an underrated aspect of the special teams.
Absolutely.
The ability to block legally as well as do it correctly to give that massive open gap that was all the way back at the 20. He caught that in his own end zone and took it all the way down to the 45.
I think I have to credit his elusiveness to that, too. He made two of the Gannon defenders run into each other, sort of, drew the Gannon special teams back a little bit, and it gave him more yardage because of it. First play on offense, it's going to be a shuttle pass to Dwayne Brown. He'll take it on the right side. He's at the 40. He's going to be out of bounds at just about the 31-yard line. So IUP's offense working quick, as that should bring up a first down for the Crimson Hawks.
And that's, once again, that going back to that talent everywhere on that offense. He started in the wide receiver position, ran over to the shotgun. That is a scary aspect when you go up against this team.
First and 10 on the 33 of Gannon. IUP looking to score quickly. Quentin Maxwell in the shotgun set. He's going to take the snap. He's going to pitch it out left to Samir Bullock, and he's going to be gobbled up in the backfield for a loss. And there's some extracurriculars going on near midfield. Jacob Watts tied up with number 1, Trey McNeil. No flags are thrown, fortunately.
But that's the kind of thing you want to see going into this game. You want to make sure that both teams are being competitive so you can really make sure this is going to be a good game. I mean, Gannon definitely wants to get a W with a 2-5 record, but also IUP wanted to make sure they remain eligible for that bowl game, eligible for a national ranking.
Justice Evans will take a pass, a screen pass out right by Quentin Maxwell. He's going to break a tackle, but he's brought down at about the 28. And you mentioned it, IUP wants to stay ranked, and we saw it after the Slippery Rock loss. They only lost by 3, and they ran up the score pretty well. It's 45-42, and they dropped 6 places in the ranking, but they got 3 of that back after the win against Clarion. You got to think about what a loss against a 2-5 Gannon squad could do to the Crimson Hawks ranking spot. If you ask me, I think it would take them out completely.
Absolutely. If this is a loss for IUP today, they are not going to go to the PSAC championship game. They're not going to go to a bowl game. They're not going to go to the national championship game. Absolutely.
Every play critical. Going forward, Quentin Maxwell will pass, and he finds a man. It's number 27, Malik Anderson. He's been a young and rising star for the Crimson Hawks team this year, and he's down to the red zone, down at about the 5, maybe the 4, depends on where they spot it. But that was a fantastic play and great awareness by Maxwell to find Malik Anderson. Jamie, what's your take on Malik Anderson and the way he's risen up this year?
Honestly, I think the thing that he resembles is Ocho Cinco, number 85. People aren't scared of his hands. People are scared of his feet. And I think that's a common factor here on the wide receivers at IUP.
Maxwell passing to the end zone. And they're going to say it's a touchdown. Arm the Cannons. IUP puts up a quick 6 points. 7th on the way.
I want to see a replay of that. I didn't think he caught that.
Yeah, I thought he was, I didn't think he had control whenever he was out of bounds, but unfortunately, he did make the catch. Oh, wow. Almost like a David Tyree sort of play off the helmet. Fantastic grab.
A player down.
Dwayne Brown, of course, on the touchdown, but yes, there is a downed Gannon Golden Knight.
I think that's A.J. Satcher guarding in DB on that touchdown pass. He looked straight at the ref, thinking that he dropped it, but luckily he is up now. That's what you want to see when someone goes down, get up straight away.
Yeah, and doesn't get easier from here on out, but yeah, it might have just been a stinger or got the wind knocked out of him, because he did pop right back up once the training staff got to him. Dylan Sarka out for the extra point, following the 7-yard touchdown pass from Maxwell to Brown. Jalen Reese to hold. Jalen Reese has gotten a few snaps this past year.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see some today from the quarterback slot. Dylan Sarka's extra point attempt is up, and it is good. 7-0 IUP leads at 12:33. Scoring drive, 5 plays, 46 yards, and under 2.5 minutes played. Jamie, you saw the IUP offense. Now what's the goal for the IUP defense?
I think something that's been quite evident that's needed to be worked on in the past couple of weeks is the press. Their press it needs to be more aggressive. When people see the defense of IUP and they see them going into the press, they throw it long. So that also has to be kept in mind by the safeties. They have to be ready to move laterally. And that's where a lot of the long passes, that's where a lot of the yards come against IUP.
Yeah, and that's where Gannon really excels, is their passing game. So if IUP can strengthen that, fine-tune it a little bit, and then break it open, IUP might put up a big old goose egg in the first half, I'd say.
Yeah, I really hope so.
Dylan Grubbs looking to kick it off for IUP.
Looks like we have Doreen Jones in the backfield, ready to catch.
The kick is off. It's a decent kick. Should be returnable. It'll be returned at about the 11-yard line by number 5, Dorian Jones. He's taking it on the right side. He's got a few blocks, but he's going to be forced out of bounds nearing the 42-yard line. So that is where Gannon will set up shop. And out comes Gannon's quarterback, number 6, Jimmy Keith. But I'll tell you what, I don't think anything's going to be easy for Gannon today. There was a hold on Gannon, number 18, Johnny Freeman. So that'll send him back a few yards. So the momentum sticks on IUP's side following the kickoff. And, it's not going to be easy for the Gannon offense, because you mentioned how their defense is very elite. But I got to focus on at least 3 players, and that's the 3 defensive ends up front. You got Dontre Tillman, Renaya Mitchell, and DeJour Fisher. And then not to mention you got Ernest Shockley, who can come in and cover any of those territories when someone needs a break. It's scary to watch.
Yeah. And they're going up against an elite offensive line. It may not seem elite but how many sacks have you seen against Gannon?
Not many. Keefe will fire it off for the first pass of the game. It's going to be incomplete. Pass intended for number 11, Joey Cox. Tell you what, there's a lot of action around, where the pass was intended to.
Yeah, it looked like a couple people got knocked down there, but luckily everybody got back up. Gannon's playing a quick, no-huddle offense.
Yeah, reminiscent of IUP almost, so maybe playing a mirror image ball game here. 2nd and 10 following the incompletion. Keefe will hand it off. Few yards.
Great wrap-up tackle there.
I want to say that was number 6, Mike Nash, on the stop. So that'll bring up a quick 3rd down. Didn't get many yards on that. It should bring up a 3rd and 8, I believe. I expect a pass play here.
I mean, they do have a very elite running back who was the punt returner. He just ran it there. There was a quick gap, so I think that's why he didn't get as far. I think if he gets a good... Oh, it is a pass.
Back to pass on 3rd down is Keefe, and he's going to be brought down in the backfield for a loss.
That was Drake Puffenbadger, on the sack.
That's not a name we haven't really said much all season, but really starting to shine in the later parts of the season, and that'll force Gannon to punt. Puffenbadger able to get back in the backfield rather easily, I'd say.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, and I've said this from week 1, that is the influence of Damian Lloyd, one of the most elite defenders in Division II right now, and he is influencing the players around him.
Decent punt. Brown not returning it. Should go out maybe at about the 47, I think, is where it landed. Decent punt by Isaac West to the Golden Knights. So IUP setting up once again in good field position on their 2nd drive. Last time out, Maxwell found Brown for a 7-yard touchdown. Dylan Sark attacked on the extra point. But really what set it up last time was a very good passing scheme. We saw Justice Evans and Malik Anderson really get involved, the running backs 2 and 3 for this IUP squad. Maybe we'll see that going forward on this drive.
An interesting move to start off the drive as well. Samir Bullock in the backfield in the running back position, not Justice Evans. When Samir was on, there was a negative amount of yards lost. We'll see what happens here.
On 1st down, Maxwell, pistol form. He's going to take the snap. He's going to hand it off to Bullock. May have gotten a yard. And he'll be brought down, yard after the line of scrimmage. But that's the thing about Samir Bullock. He's more of a power halfback rather than more of a speed and elusiveness halfback. He's willing to get in there. I've noticed it all year long that he's been very efficient on, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 1st and 2, something like that. Whatever, something similar to that. And Justice Evans and Malik Anderson pick up the slack whenever it's more 1st and 10 and something like that.
Right.
2nd and 9 following the 1-yard rush. Maxwell rolling out to the near side. He's going to pass to JoJo Gauze. It's complete. Not good enough for a first. Should be at least halfway there.
And we've been seeing a lot of this in the past. At the end of every play, the defense of Gannon wants to talk to offense of IUP, and IUP is talking right back to them. This is a very aggressive matchup between the two today.
And we've seen a more gritty sort of, approach to each game for IUP. Last year it seemed like they were more conservative and, saying, hey, pass, shrug it off, don't worry about it. But now there's been a lot of jawing this year, some extracurriculars here and there. It's been a more gritty offense.
And I think it's because they're hurt from last year, not getting as far as they wanted to.
Oh, yeah, they need that. They're looking to get that target on their back for as ironic as it sounds. And Dwayne Brown making the catch. He sheds off a tackler. He's got it. He's at the 30, and he's going to be brought down at about the 27. Fantastic catch by Dwayne Brown, but better, tackle shedding on that.
Yeah, and what made that play happen was the technique. His technique got his feet up. He kept the stride. He kept the power. And that's how he got so far out.
So now a new set of downs in Golden Knight territory.
Justice Evans back in the backfield in the running back position. Probably going to hand it off here.
And I think they're going to change the play because I think they noticed there was a blitz coming from the Golden Knights defense. And that's the thing with Justice Evans. He can be a dual threat running back. So if you need to change a play up, you can always do that. And he's effective when he's attempting to do that. Play action. Maxwell looking to pass. He's going to air it out long for K-Shot Carter, and he makes the catch. Arm the cannon, excuse me. Big pass coming from Maxwell to Carter in the end zone for another IUP touchdown.
And that's another quick score for IUP. They have an aggressive offense. They are confident when they run their route, and Quinton is just as confident passing it to them.
Yeah, and Maxwell, like you said, looked very confident once he got rid of that ball. He realized that K-Shaw's got the speed to get away from the defenders, and he just got in open territory. Looked picture perfect. Sark out yet again for his second PAT attempt of the day. The snap, the hold by Reese, the kick is up, and it is good. 4 plays, 52 yards in just eclipsing 2 minutes. IUP finds their second score of the game.
That is such an impressive drive. It was, and the reason we got as far as they did was technique, and I think that is so underrated in intercollegiate athletics. People think that these guys are college athletes now. They are so perfect, and they train just as hard every day to make sure that they are as elite as they are to be the number 19th team in the country.
And you can tell they really worked on that technique in the offseason because it's looked pretty fluid all year. Like last year we saw a few gaps here and there, but not much to complain about here. So it looks like they'll send Dylan Sarka out to kick it away for the Crimson Hawks. Quentin Maxwell now on 7 for 7 on the day, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. Good day at the office for him so far.
We have Jalen Johnson and Joey Cox in the backfield for Gannon ready to catch it. Joey Cox, an impressive kick returner and punt returner, does most touchdown returns for Gannon.
Well, let's see if he can tack on another one here as Sarka gets the kick away. It'll be returned at about the 5. I think that is Johnson on the return. He's going to be brought down at about the 18-yard line. So that's where Gannon will set up. IUP not letting Gannon get much territory in the early parts of this game.
Yeah, that was Harrison Dreyer on the tackle. That was a great tackle. He made sure he really got past the blocker there.
So here comes the Gannon offense out once again. Keefe so far today is only 0 for 1 on passing attempts, so we haven't seen much of a passing game. We've seen a few rushes. Keefe has negative 8 yards on 1 rush. Melvin Blanks 2 yards. Jamie, maybe we should see more of a passing scheme here on this offensive drive. As you know, they experimented with the running game last time out, but fortunately just fell a little bit short.
Yeah, and they set up flag on the play.
Delay of game, I believe.
Oh yeah, shot clock's at 0. So they really should have snapped it quicker. They are not in good position. They need some yards, and that's probably just killed their confidence a little going into this drive.
Well, yeah, because now that backs him up on the 11-yard line. So empty set backfield. Keefe to pass on first down. He's going to pass it out to the far side. Wow, he really gave that a good old heave, and that will go into the track on the far side of the field. It looked like he didn't get much of a good arm or throwing motion whenever he tried getting rid of it.
And he had to run away. That was number 68, DeJour Fisher, the D lineman, really getting around his blocker. Had to make the quarterback run, roll out, and eventually just throw it away. But now we have a man in the backfield. Oh, they're going to change the play.
Yeah, I think they might go I formation here.
8 seconds on the game clock. Oh,
Keefe, play action. Not going to run it. He's going to heave it toward the center of the field. It's going to be caught, and first down for Gannon.
Joey Cox right there. Like I said, a dangerous man on this football team. He can do it all. Him and number 5, Darian Jones, they both have been playing offense. They both have been playing defense. They both have been playing fantastically today so far, but it doesn't show yet. They really have to get through this elite defense of IUP.
They're going to hand it off on first down, and he's going to be brought down to the backfield. Melvin Blanks getting his second rush of the game, and I think he'll lose maybe a yard or 2 on that rush.
That was Ernest Shockley on the tackle to give them negative yards, and that's, once again, that defensive line at one point leading the country in sacks. They really do a good job of getting through the offensive line, getting through the offensive line traps as well.
And how many times have we seen that it's been already, short amount of play already has gone by, as we're going to see a handoff to Cox this time on the jet sweep, and he's going to be brought down by Damon Lloyd in the backfield. But this sort of goes along with what I was just about to say is we've seen a lot of heavy defensive pressure. They are able to get through the offensive line with ease.
Yeah, and it looks like Joey Cox is going to go back into the wide receiver position. I think they need a passing play. They're on third down with 13, 14 yards to go. They need to get Joey Cox down the field.
Oh, yeah, this is no doubt, time to give it a full send, and especially to your best receiver on 3rd and long. Keefe back in shotgun set. He's going to take the snap. He's dropping back in the pocket. He gets it off pretty quickly. He finds a man. This one to number 82. Branson Stanley, he'll be brought down. Will not be enough for the first, so here comes the Gannon punt squad.
They did a good punt last time. They did a really good job. They wanted a rolling punt. They unfortunately didn't get it, but it was close. They did a good job getting down the field as well. If Dwayne Brown would have gone for the punt return, it would have been right there.
Absolutely. Although kind of a questionable call on the Gannon offensive side, doing a little bit of a cut route toward the center. Not much yardage gained on that. I thought they were going to give it a good old heave, but unfortunately not the case as they tried playing conservative ball on that one, and it forced them to punt. West gets it away. It'll sail out of bounds near the 12.
I think Dwayne Brown wanted to run that one back. He looked frustrated there.
But good awareness by the the special teams for Gannon. They realize who Dwayne Brown exactly who he is, not just on offense, but how much of a threat he is on special teams as well. Keep it out of his hands. Pin him back as far as you can go, and let the offense do the work. Although maybe a smart decision for other teams, but IUP Quentin Maxwell has been tearing and thrashing through this Gannon defensive unit. So I think Gannon's starting to run into corners here, saying, "What can we do to stop him?"
Yeah, and Maxwell, being a redshirt senior transfer from Ohio University, he is already the 5th most in passing yards at IUP in the quarterback position. And there was a fumble there on the pitch from Maxwell.
I think they're going to count that as a forward pass, however, as they blew the whistle dead. Smart call. Good call. I just didn't know what, crosses the boundaries of a pass versus a pitch to your running back for a running play. I don't know.
But, looks like we are having a timeout here.
Yeah, another injury.
Player down.
Second injury for Gannon on the day. He's hunched over, not lying on his back, so he's in a bit of pain. We'll step away 30 seconds. IUP leading 14-0. 6:20 to go in the first quarter here on WIUP-FM.
I'm Dominique Dawes, and there's a big advantage parents can give their kids: making sure they get active at least 60 minutes each day. Studies show that physical activity not only helps kids stay healthy, it can enhance important skills like concentration and problem solving, which can improve academic performance. Help your kids in the most important game of all, life. Learn more at fitness.gov.
Brought to you by HHS.
Welcome back to Miller Stadium. Just getting him up. Jamie, do you have a name for this player?
Yeah, and that's number 31, Z Allen. He has to be helped off. He's not putting any weight on that left leg. It's not what you want to see.
Yeah, no, he needs the help by the training staff to get him off. Wish him the best. You don't ever want to see anyone go down. But we're ready to play once again. 2nd and 10 is where we're going to leave off. 6:20 to go in the first quarter. IUP with a 2-score lead. Maxwell in shotgun set, bunching the near side.
Zone defense by Gannon. The first time we're seeing it today. I think they are starting to recognize the deep passes by IUP.
Yeah, and we saw there was a deep pass there intended for Don McNeil. Right in and out of his hands. Went through it, actually. And that'll bring up a 3rd down. So Gannon might force IUP to go 4 and out for the first time, or 3 and out to go for the first time today.
And that would, I think that needs to happen. Give this offense a little bit of, bring them a little more down to earth, because they probably think they're high and fly right now.
Yeah, I think they might be a little complacent, but if Gannon can just, take advantage of that. 10 seconds on the play clock. Maxwell on empty set. He's going to get rid of it quickly. It's to Justice Evans. He will not get the first, so that'll force IUP to punt for the first time today.
And it looked like there was a lot of confusion and a lot of frustration from Quentin Maxwell to his receivers. I don't think there was some good communication there from the IUP offense.
Yeah, I think I saw someone maybe lining up in the neutral zone. He had to try and fix that, saying even yourselves out a little bit, get behind the line of scrimmage, and I think that sort of took a lot of focus away from the play. And as you saw right there, I wouldn't call it necessarily a broken play, but it definitely wasn't by design.
And I think that's going to really define Maxwell as a quarterback here, what he does next, how he comes off a 3-0 play drive. That doesn't happen to him here often at IUP.
The punt by Grubbs is away, and it'll go out of bounds at about the 45 for Gannon. Some jawing going back and forth near the 45. And we might see a lot of that going on in this game, as we've seen it, in recent weeks. We've seen a lot of jawing between these two teams.
And I think, like I've been saying, and I don't think I'll ever change my standpoint on that, I think that's necessary in a game like this.
Oh, yeah.
With a team that wants to stay alive in the national ranking and recognition, and a team that's looking to come back from what could have been when coming into the season, because they have some talented players on the offensive end that handing it off to right now, throwing it, to number 11, Joey Cox. He was just pressed, and I think that's where they get frustrated, and I think that's where the offense begins to not gain any yards.
Yeah, we saw that pass going for Joey Cox. A good look for Jimmy Keefe, but sort of like he didn't have much of a handle on it, as it looked like he just spiked it into the ground. Damon Lloyd had some choice words for Cox afterward. Keefe on second down, shotgun set. He's going to take the snap, and he's going to play action. It's going to be incomplete.
Number 2 for IUP, Nazir Streeter, right there as the receiver went up to catch it. If he would have caught it, he would have not wanted to catch it again with Nazir there.
Oh, no, he had great defensive pressure on him. Sort of brought him down almost immediately once he touched the ball. So, obviously he wasn't going to go anywhere really if he did make the catch, but just good coverage by IUP to bring up third down and 10. Ball's now placed on the 45 for Gannon, that is. Back to pass. He's going to heave it long. Good old heave coming. And it's going to be incomplete. Pass intended, number 82.
No flags on the play. There was a lot of pushing and shoving from the offense and the defensive player there. Nice aggressive route by Gannon as well. Really threatening that long play.
And who else was there other than Nazir Streeter?
Exactly.
Again, heavy defensive pressure from him. He's really evolved into one of the X factors on this defensive squad for IUP.
And I think that's something that's kind of underrated on their defense. There's such heavy emphasis on that D-line, but you never see long passes against IUP unless there's a zone collapse.
And as we saw on there, but the punt is away. That one will sail out again. So, yeah, Jamie, we mentioned it before. Gannon is not going to give the ball to Dwayne Brown for him to, have a chance at returning just because they know what he can do. And Dwayne Brown is physically upset about that.
Yeah, and I would be as well. As a former athlete, I understand when someone understands or recognizes and respects the amount of skill you have in your position, they're going to try and make it as hard for you as possible. And I've never seen Brown physically react in frustration before. And I think this could, even though IUP is up by 2 scores, this could be a mental test for them.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And I imagine we're going to see more, punts going right to players if, we get more of the secondary and tertiary squads in, as we're going to see Justice Evans taking the ball on first down. He'll get back to the line, but you said it, the respect for Dwayne Brown that Gannon has for him, and that's why they're not letting him get the ball. And it's only been targeted, I believe, 3 times today, but on special teams they understand what he can do. You got to hand it to him.
And there's 2 running backs in the game. Justice Evans is going to line up as a receiver. Every time he lines up as a receiver, something exciting happens. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a long play. Gannon's D-line adjusting a lot there.
Well, we're going to see a quick pass. A little out route to Evans. I believe he got the first. He will. It'll move the chains. But yeah, something interesting. You said how they put 2 running backs out there. They took both Jacob Watts and Grant Smith, the starting tight ends for IUP. They took them out, so you could tell that they weren't adding extra coverage to the line. They were just giving Maxwell more options to work with on the passing game.
And I think that's where he really, really strives as a quarterback, when he has the options. And I think he needs to feel confidence and that connection that we were talking about earlier.
Maxwell to pass on first down. He finds Dwayne Brown. He's going to shed a few tackles. He's going to get the first, and he's going to be brought down at IUP's 46-yard line. So once again, Maxwell finding Brown.
We have a player down. Helmet's off.
My goodness. That's the third Gannon player to go down. However, he's reacting very well. He's going to have to sit out a play for his helmet coming off, but he's able to pop up easily.
I think that was more frustration than anything, having so many players miss Dwayne Brown. You'd think so many individuals could tackle one man, but when you have the talent that Dwayne Brown has,
it's hard to stop.
Exactly.
It's sort of like putting, Antonio Brown, before he completely decided to throw his career down in the trash, but it's more that versus, a Miami Dolphins squad. It's just not going to work. So we'll take it up on first down. They'll place at the 47. The player that was down was Nicholas White. He'll set out. He's a defensive lineman for Gannon. Maxwell will pass on first and 10. He's going to air it out to Dwayne Brown, but this one had a little too much air on it as it goes out of bounds. Good luck, but unfortunately just sailed a little too far to the left.
And there hasn't been a lot of throws to JoJo Gauls today. I mean, he is a fantastic receiver as Dwayne Brown, and they intelligently put them on 2 different sides to be threatening on both sides.
Yeah.
But Maxwell's been throwing it all to the left today, the single-sided wide receiver. And I think we need to start seeing some passes to both sides with both talented receivers on the line.
Well, let's see what they do here. It's going to be play action. Maxwell gets it out to Don McNeil on the right side, who gets a good block by JoJo. He's going down, but he's going to be marked out of bounds at about the 35, excuse me. But I agree. I think maybe Gannon should adjust their defense maybe to focus more on Dwayne Brown, because something I've noticed is that JoJo Gauze is more of a comeback sort of receiver, whereas Dwayne Brown streaks a lot more. And if you can cover Dwayne Brown, because he has more efficiency when he streaks, he can reel on the ball almost like Odell Beckham Jr., but JoJo Gauze, he relies more on the comeback route, and if you can limit them to that and make them work a little bit more, tire themselves out, it's going to benefit you on defense. But that, again, that's why we're up here and we're not down there.
And IUP setting up in a lot of screens and a lot of blocks and not a lot of yards. I think Gannon saw exactly what was happening from the get-go.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a lot of guessing as the defensive coordinator there.
Yeah, Justice Evans tried a little bit of a rush, but Gannon had some heavy defense or some great timing of the snap as they were able to get back in the backfield rather easily and bring him down. And it was a loss of 2, actually.
Jacob Watts coming back in. I think this man is such a talented person.
Oh, yeah, because he's a good tight end, but he can also line up in the slot as well when you need him to. And he's a big guy, so can really overcome something, especially for a good short yardage gain or a good block, as he was able to block for Samir Bullock. He'll get back to the line of scrimmage, and he'll get some after that. But Jacob Watts did just that, like you said, he lined up in the slot, but then he cut back once the play was active, and he just completely threw the blocker out of Samir Bullock's way, and it opened up a little bit of a lane for him.
And that's what he does best. He is not as much of a catching traditional tight end that we see in today's football. He is more of what the classical tight end used to be, of the mean blocking machine.
And that sets up a 3rd and 6 on the Gannon 31. It's a muffed snap. Maxwell's going to have to get it. And I think Gannon recovers. Oh, no, IUP will recover it. It looked like number 40 or 54 of Gannon. Joshua Jackson had a good beat on the ball, but I think he fell a little bit too late, and the ball took a nice bounce back, and it was recovered by Malik Anderson, which will bring up an IUP 4th down. And seemingly maybe one more rushing play would have made him into Sarka's field goal range, but that missed snap, it's going to force him to punt here on 4th down.
And we've seen that a couple of times this year, where the center and Maxwell just have not been on the same timing. If you were watching at home, you would have seen that Maxwell was not looking at the center when it was snapped. So I believe there was some mistiming and miscommunication on that play.
I agree with that.
Again for IUP.
It's going to be a fair caught at the 19, so that's where Gannon will set up for their third offensive drive of the game. Still scoreless for Gannon, trailing IUP 14-0. We got a minute flat to go in the first quarter. Again, you're listening to IUP football right here on 90.1 WIUP-FM. Jake Slebodnick, Jamie Machin, still trying to work on that. Here from Miller Stadium, we got Jeff Hart in booth. It's going to be a good game. IUP already with 2 scores. Looking to put up some more.
IUP in a tight zone. I don't think they're going to draw back too much with their defensive backs, but that's why they choose to run it, as Gannon runs it to about the 26-yard line.
Looks like they're going to mark him down maybe just 2 yards shy, so maybe down to 28. But Melvin Blanks now able to get in the positive scoring or positive stat column in the rushing attack. And I'll bring up a second and short. 30 seconds to go in the first. Keefe, play. Oh, no, he'll hand it off. Back to Blanks. Gets the first and a little bit more. Tell you what, Keefe really did a good job of selling that play, making it look like a play-action pass.
And I think that's something they're going to be focusing on a little more. Handing it off and running wide, running to the hash marks on the sideline, because they just haven't tested that yet today, and I think they're looking for any gap in the IUP defense.
And that's smart. I like the play calling. I like trying to pick apart where IUP, and that's what I think the first quarter is all about, is picking apart your opponent, looking at where their weak spots are, and then capitalizing that going forward. Well, time for measurements over, as that'll bring us to the end of the first quarter with the score IUP 14, Gannon nothing. Gannon will take over 1st and 10 from their own 32 when we come back here on WIUP-FM.
Join me every Sunday afternoon for Rock and Roll's Classics. I play the best of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Rock, pop, and soul. Join me every Sunday afternoon between 3 and 6 right here on your alternative source, WIUP-FM.
I thought I was too old.
I thought I was too young.
I didn't think I had what it takes.
How'd I find the time?
I went into a music store and tried some percussion. Keyboard,
guitar,
bass,
ukulele.
And before I knew it,
I could actually play a song.
Why make excuses when you can make music? Just play. This message brought to you by the NAMM Foundation.
Life after military service is different. Many veterans find transitioning difficult, feeling lost and uncertain about the future. These feelings don't take away from a veteran's strength, courage, or sense of duty. If you're a veteran in crisis or know one who is, the power of one person, one connection, one act of compassion can make a difference. For free 24/7 confidential support, call the Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255 and press 1, or visit veteranscrisisline.net.
All right, everybody in the car, let's go.
What are we going to do first when we get there, Mom? Go for a hike?
Sure.
What about canoeing? Can we go canoeing, too?
I don't see why.
How long does it take to get to the forest?
It's not that far, sweetie.
Are we there yet?
Yep, we're here.
Already?
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Welcome back. IUP taking out on defense as we're at the start of the second quarter, 2nd and 4 now. A little bit of a 6-yard rush. We're going to see another rush by Gannon, this time by number 24 of the Golden Knights, Zevin Hawley.
That was a really good, once again, rushing it to the outside towards the hash marks, towards the numbers, and really testing this IUP defense. They've done that 3 times in a row now, and 3 times it's worked. If they do it again, they'll probably get this first down.
Brings up 3rd down and short.
Only 3 yards to go. If they hand it off to number 24, Zevin Hawley, then they will I predict they will get this first down.
Keefe to pass. It's intercepted. Damon Lloyd. And you know what? He's going to take this to the house. Arm the cannons. IUP touchdown.
Whoa.
Fantastic work by the IUP defensive unit. Damon Lloyd, nothing you could do about that. He was just right there. He got some air on that and took that for another IUP score.
Talk about right place at the right time. That was fantastic, and it was behind him when he caught it as well. Way to be patient, way to be meticulous with your technique.
I will say, I have a little bit of a confession. Before this drive started, I wanted to make a bold prediction saying there was going to be a pick six on this drive. I didn't actually think. Normally my predictions don't pan out at all, so that's why I just didn't utter it. But, wow, maybe I should have in that case. But fantastic work. Damon Lloyd, you mentioned it. The precision and the accuracy to bring that one in and then run it into the end zone almost seamlessly as Dylan Stark attacks on the extra point. 21-0 our score now, 13:35 to go in the second quarter. But my goodness, Damon Lloyd, 40 yards to the house.
That is fantastic, and it is so well-deserved. And by a D lineman as well. And I know he plays a lot of safety as well, and he can do everything on the defensive end, but now he's just showed he can do one more thing for IUP.
Yeah, I know a lot of people, put down defensive backs usually getting an interception because they're more of a pass rush, they're more of a sack threat. But it all goes back, and one example I like to use is Super Bowl 43, James Harrison. He's a defensive back, and he returned, I believe, was it Carson Palmer's pass at 100 yards for a touchdown? Defensive backs can do everything, like you said, and that's why they trust him. They can trust him on the defensive line, trust him as a back, and they can also trust him as a safety because he's that utility guy. They can go back to him whenever they can.
Once again, number 5, Darain Jones, and number 85, Jalen Johnson, lining up in the backfield. They're looking for some positive yards this time. I think it's really important that they get past at least the 25 for their confidence if they do not call for a fair catch.
Yeah, you can't settle for anything less than a 25-plus yard return here. And our guy back in the booth, Jeff Hart, just updated me. It was Kurt Warner that James Harrison had the reception off of. I forget when the era of Palmer started in Arizona, that is. We're going to see a good return. It will go to the 25, but a flag, I think, might set this back a few yards.
He threw that flag far.
That's what I've noticed. It seems like, these referees could be, college quarterbacks. They got a good arm on them. They can really launch their flags. You're losing it up here.
He threw it from the 45, and it landed on the other 30. Why did he throw it so hard?
They want to make a statement, I guess, saying, look, we should maybe reliving the glory days. Oh, my goodness.
I missed what that foul was.
I think it
went back on IUP, so I'm going to say holding. Or on Gannon, excuse me.
You're still caught up in that distance that flag had. Normally what I see is whenever referees just launch the flag straight up in the air, because normally we've seen it in past weeks where there's a lot of extracurriculars out of bounds, so they just throw this flag on the spot. Not much distance, but my goodness, he had an arm. I wish I had his name. I could give him a good shout out here. Keefe on first down. Pass complete. Gain of about 2.
Number 18 on the tackle for IUP, Harrison Dreyer. Again, he's there right on the line of scrimmage where the tackle was. I think that's a really important aspect to remember for this IUP defense. They press immediately, and they continue with that press and aggressiveness from the continuation.
Keefe on second down. He'll pass again. Lots of passing plays on the Gannon offensive side. It's going to be in and out of the hands. I believe that was Stanley, number 82 for Gannon.
For Streeter for the defense as well. Knocked it out of his hands a little. Made sure that pressure was there until he dropped the ball, and I think that's really important for that technique aspect. Again, IUP being meticulous in every position on the offense, defense, and special teams, and on the technique that they commit to.
Yeah, and that's something I think they've worked on, because I know there's been a lot of pass interference on IUP the past few weeks. And you mentioned the technique and the meticulation they put toward it. Works out here. Third down. Lots of defensive pressure in the pocket. Keefe gets it away, in and out of the hands of Stanley, and it'll bring up a fourth down.
And once again, there's communication error on the defensive end between Streeter and number 30, 6 for IUP. Nick Amendola.
Nick Amendola, man, he has been something else this year.
He has, but that time the receiver, number 84 for Gannon, Gabe Westcott, got away from them, and the quarterback just threw it way too high above him, and I think small mistakes like that is really going to kill the Gannon team today.
High snap, the punt will get away. Will not go out of bounds, but it will take a good Crimson Hawk roll, or it will drop actually, and it'll be down at about the 45 of IUP.
And that time it was interesting. It was right towards Dwayne Brown, but they kicked it in a way that stayed low enough for the Gunners to get there in time, get the ball, make sure he didn't get it, and once again find another way to frustrate Dwayne Brown.
Yeah, I think that's now 3 straight punting attempts where they don't let Dwayne Brown get a little, even a little bit of a return at all. It's just they're just not going to let him return whatsoever. That's a smart strategy though by Gannon. I have to support the decision.
Samir Bullock in the backfield doing a constant substitution rotation for IUP in the backfield in the running back and halfback position.
And that's what you got to do. You got a running back committee of 3 stellar running backs as Maxwell passes out to Dwayne Brown. Doesn't get the first, might be about a yard shy. He's still on his feet. And he'll be brought down at about the 49, so what looked to be a 9-yard pass now will go down as a 6-yard pass.
Dwayne making sure he's jawing back to the Gannon defenders that he broke tackles from just there. That is why he's an aggressive wide receiver, and that's why he can maintain that energy throughout the game, no matter where he is, home or away.
Trying to hard count. Gets a snap. He's back to pass. He's going to air it out long once again, looking for, I believe that's JoJo. And he drops it in and out of his hands, threw it a little bit underneath. Hits off his shoulder pad and goes out of bounds, incomplete.
No defenders were there. JoJo had a great stutter step there where he uses it every week, and it works every time because it is so intimidating. He dips his shoulder one way to make it look like he's going to go inside and just keeps running straight, and it works on every defender every time.
Just unfortunate, turn of events for IUP. It was in the hands of JoJo Gauze, but unfortunately fell just short. 3rd and 6 on the 49. Maxwell. Shotgun set. He's dropping back to pass. Got some pressure. He gets out of it. He's going to heave it for Don McNeil downfield. Just a bit out of his reach. Incomplete, and that'll bring up a 4th down for IUP.
Number 3, Jay Bullock, really shouting at his fellow D lineman there to go out, be wide on the defensive line, to attack the offensive line of IUP at a sharp angle, because they have done a good job on scouting report. Good job on scouting this offensive line for IUP, because that's how they understand that is where IUP is at its weakest, on the O-line, when it's a sharp angle, because IUP's O-linemen do not turn their hips quick enough to be able to stop that, and that's why there was almost a sack there from number 3, Jay Bullock.
You got to hand it to Maxwell to escape pressure, and yeah, it wasn't incomplete. Oh, it's a running back direct snap. This one's going to be a 1st down. IUP gets it, and he'll get a little bit more. That one to number 44 of IUP.
Brandon Myers. Is he a defensive player?
Yeah, he's a linebacker, it looks like. I honestly did not expect that from the IUP special teams.
Well, they had a... What was he? A linebacker. A linebacker just outran some Gunners.
Yeah, normally you put in like a fullback or something like that because, at least they have some offensive work. But my word, the linebacker Myers, able to really get a good run on that one and brings up a 1st down for IUP. That makes Brandon Myers now the leading rusher for IUP with 17 yards on 1 carry. How often do you see a linebacker leading the running campaign? Maxwell.
Oh, that's a low snap again.
But he's able to gain his composure. He fires to the end zone for Brown. Did he keep it in?
Oh,
no, they're going to say he was out of bounds. I thought he dragged that toe, but maybe he planted his base foot on the... Oh, my goodness. I thought he had that one.
Dwayne Brown physically upset after that. He thought he had it. You thought he had it. I don't know what I saw.
Yeah, I think everyone thought he had that, but... Unfortunately, it'll bring up a 2nd down. A great look for Maxwell to recover from the low snap, and Brown was in the vicinity. He made a fantastic catch as well. Just could not keep his feet in bounds.
Look at the spread for Gannon. Such a wide zone to be wary for the pass, but Justice Evans really just spinning everyone. I think he spun 3 times there.
Yeah, and he got a decent gain out of it. I think, maybe 6... I think the IUP marching band just played the beginning to, was it the SpongeBob and the Band Geeks at the Bubble Bowl? I was waiting for Sweet Victory to start playing, too. Maxwell trying to draw the defense off sides. Does not work. Clock continues to roll at 10:36 and a 21-0 contest. 3rd and 4 at the Gannon 28.
Once again, Gannon being tight in their defense, throwing it to JoJo Gauze.
He should have gotten the first. He will. But yeah, noticing again, JoJo Gauze on the comeback route, and he succeeds from it.
And it seems to be that there's a halfback blocker in for IUP. I think that's because every time they've run the ball, they've just been stopped. And
just shows right there, Malik Anderson, minimal gain.
Ryan Langdon at the fullback position doing a really good job. He had a really perfect block there, elbows in and pushing hard and high. And I think that's the way the offensive line for IUP should be blocking today. They've been really low, and I think that's why some of Gannon's defensive line is getting around them. And I think that needs to be really tweaked quickly.
Yeah, and IUP has a prolific offensive line. Normally doesn't get much in it. It's a pitch play, a broken play, and they're going to say that was a forward pass. And so they'll say it's an incomplete pass. Yeah, Samir Bullock was not looking at Maxwell at all, and Maxwell just sort of fired into his back.
I think there was miscommunication there because the offense coordinator on the sideline for IUP showing them really frustrated, repeating the call they did straight after they completed it. And I think at halftime, this is going to be something that's mentioned. The communication between everybody needs to be brought up and fixed quickly.
Yeah, I agree. How many broken plays have we seen today on just IUP's offense alone?
Exactly, and I think this could cost them like the number of points they could be achieving.
IUP, I think IUP was the one who took a timeout, so we'll step aside for 30 seconds as well. 21-0 our score, 9:28 to go when we come back on 90.1 WIUP-FM.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, and father of 5. I'm also an expert on drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids, and there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
Welcome back. Coming off the timeout, 9:28 to go in the second quarter. IUP up 21-0 over the Gannon Golden Knights. Third and 8 at the 20. Back to passes Maxwell. Passing it out right to JoJo Gauze. Completed. He'll get the first, and he'll set up a 1st and goal at about the 7.
There was a huge rush there from the Gannon's defensive line. About 7 or 8 guys just running, leaving 3 men in the backfield. I think that was a questionable decision, and leaving JoJo Gauze on his cutback route, what he always does best, leaving him wide open to get that first down.
And that first down will lead to a 1st and goal for IUP at the 7. IUP making great work of this offensive drive after the fake punt. Fader route to the end zone. JoJo Gauze, did he keep him in? He will! Arm the Cannons, IUP touchdown. Fantastic 7-yard pass. Maxwell to JoJo Gauze in the end zone for the IUP score.
That was a great route, and it was a really good job by JoJo Gauze showing to the ref that his feet were in. He kept falling forward, as you can see there on the replay. He keeps falling forward, but he managed to keep his feet as still as possible to represent the fact that he is in and good for the touchdown.
Dylan Sarker out for his 4th extra point attempt of the day, 3 for 3 so far. Sarka earned PSAC Special Teams Athlete of the Week a few weeks ago for 11 PATs in the game. The fourth one in this game is up, and it is good. 28-0, IUP with a lead. 8:53 to go in the second quarter.
That was a different kind of drive for IUP. There was less focus on the aggressiveness and more focus on let's gain small yards and do a step-by-step 3 and 10 to get into the end zone. And they really started testing the defensive line of Gannon, causing more rushers and purposefully, probably purposefully, leaving more receivers on the outside to be open and get that touchdown.
Scoring drive, 10 plays, 55 yards, just shy of 4 minutes. Very effective pass, 7-yard touchdown pass by Maxwell to Gauze. Maxwell now has 3 touchdown passes on the day, 187 yards, 15 of 21, a quarterback rating currently at 193.4, according to IUP Athletics.
He's 187 yards with 8 minutes and 53 seconds left to go in the second quarter.
That number can only rise, or maybe we'll see some Jalen Reese action as we progress forward.
You got to think, if you're Tort, do you want to increase that national ranking and try and keep Gannon to 0 points, or do you want to give Jalen Reese that experience, that beginning time for next year, maybe even this year?
It'll be returned at the 2-yard line. Runs into a wall. Finds a little bit of hole, but he's going to be brought down at about the, well, now he's finally brought down at the 17 and the 18.
A lot of jawing. Keeping that aggression.
Yeah, but not too aggressive, though, which is what I like.
Gannon's coach shouting at everybody to come back. Obviously didn't like that jawing back to IUP. Gannon's got to do a really good job here on the offensive line. Got to make sure they give the quarterback enough time to make the decision that he wants to make that's appropriate to make sure his receivers are open, make sure there's no more interceptions.
It's going to be a rushing play by Blanks. He's got a little bit of room on the right side. He's going to be brought down out of bounds at about 35 of Gannon. Decent rush for him. Should put him, I believe, at about 28 yards rushing.
And if you look at the IUP defense, it's spread very far. They're ready to drop back into zone if needed. And you got to question, do you want to start on playing defense for the running game like they've been doing a lot in this quarter?
Yeah, like questioning how do you game plan about what they're going to do next. I mean, they do a great job of adjusting as to, gameplay goes. As we saw right there, they were able to stop Blanks for a 2-yard rush, maybe a yard or two.
If you're Gannon, what do you do next? The passing game hasn't worked. The rushing game is starting to work, but you're not getting a 10-yard completion out of it. Where I think next is heave it.
Yeah, I'd say we're going to see a long throw coming up. It's 2nd and 8. You've already worked the rush a few times during this drive. Try mixing it up a little bit. But it's going to be a jet sweep to Cox. He's going to get it on the right side.
Ooh, did he get that?
I want to say he did. If not, he's going to be inches shy. Yeah, he got it.
Once again, Joey Cox being the threat that he is for IUP.
Hold on, they're going to say he was just a yard short. I thought he made it, but it was one of those bang-bang plays, and there's a lot of congestion near the near side, so kind of hard to draw a certainty on that. As now we're going to see a 3rd and 1. I'd expect maybe a draw play here.
Melvin Banks giving the ball again, powering through. Did he? I think he might have got that.
So now I think he got yeah, they will move the chains. It will be a first down. And I'll tell you what, this marching band is really loving that tune. I mean, hey, whatever gets the adrenaline flowing, I guess.
Rain's starting to pick up here, so I think that might be one of the reasons that Gannon's running it so much, so they don't have to be more meticulous in the technique of catching against this elite defense.
Cox looking for a rush. He'll get back to the line of scrimmage, so he won't go anywhere. 2nd and 10 coming up. You were asking, what does Gannon maybe try doing now? I'd expect maybe a little bit more jet sweeps. Cox has been all right on the ground so far. And it mixes it up a little bit, keeps the defense guessing.
I think IUP's after the half is going to start having a man coverage only on Cox and blanks because they're getting most of the yards. I think they have to have, when they jet sweep or even when they run into the backfield, they need a man ready to tackle.
Oh, yeah, they need a man ready to adjust. I could see that. Handoff to Blanks again on the right side, and he's going to be brought down in the backfield for a loss.
That tackle was perfectly done by Drake Huffin Barger again. He broke right through. He timed it perfectly, ran as soon as the center snapped it, and that's how he got that step ahead on the center. Center's supposed to be blocking him there.
And that's really all you can hope for is just perfect timing right now on this defense, because that's really what led to it. Blanks has been on a hot streak this drive on, rushing the ball. Now I think the defense might be snuffing it out a little bit. 3rd down and 14 for Gannon. And I think there was a timeout taken. I think it was by Gannon. Yeah, Gannon will take... IUP will take another timeout, so we'll step aside 30 seconds. 28-0 our score, 5:13 to go in the half here on WIUP-FM.
All right, everybody in the car, let's go.
What are we going to do first when we get there, Mom? Go for a hike?
Sure.
What about canoeing? Can we go canoeing, too?
I don't see why.
How long does it take to get to the forest?
It's not that far, sweetie.
Are we there yet?
Yep, we're here.
Already?
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Welcome back to Miller Stadium. IUP with a 28-0 lead. 5:13 to go in the half.
Gannon's lining up, and they have 5 receivers ready to go. IUP only with a 4-man rush. IUP ready to play zone dropping defense.
Back to pass is Keefe. He's going to give it. He's going to heave it toward the center, and it's completed.
Oh, great catch by Joey Cox. Diving to his left onto his side as he caught it. Once again, it's that technique and is that skill that makes these receivers and these star players on Gannon so good.
I'll tell you, that was just a great way to overcome the 3rd and long territory that Gannon had. And again, they went to their number 1 receiver in Joey Cox. He's been pretty much the spark plug that they need on offense this entire game.
And I feel like that was caught due to Damon Lloyd's not dropping forward, and he should have been there in front of Joey.
On 1st down, they're going to hand it off to Blanks. He's got a little bit of room. A decent rush up the middle for about 5 yards. Bring up a 2nd and 5 now.
Gannon's showing a lot of confidence on this drive. Not the body language we've seen from them today. I think they're really starting to find their stride. They've started to find it a little later than IUP, but I think if they keep this confidence and continue to grow this confidence, this could be a really good game for Gannon.
Man in motion. Keefe rolling out right. He's looking to heave it long. He does. He's heading toward the end zone looking for Cox. It's going to be incomplete. Yeah, incomplete, intended for Cox. Thought there would be maybe a penalty flag on that. It looked like there was some little contact on that, but...
And I think the reason that wasn't the strength, because that was the problem with that throw, the strength from Keefe, because as soon as he threw it, he got hit, and that caused his arm not to fully follow through, and that's where quarterbacks lose their spiral, and that's why. But I think you're right, the penalty flag, I thought it should have been there as well. Joey Cox, I thought he pulled down on him, but nonetheless, 3rd down for Gannon.
Keefe play action, looking to pass. He's got some pressure, fires it to the right side. It's completed.
That's number 20, Sam East for Gannon, catching it to about the 29-yard line, excuse me.
So another first down for Gannon. They're looking at, they're flirting with scoring for the first time today.
And field goal range as well. So potentially, if they don't make this drive, as long as they don't lose any yards, they could confidently come out of this with some points.
Keefe sends Cox in motion. It's going to be a jet sweep again. He's going to take it. Gets about 3 yards on the carry.
IUP right there as well for when Joey Cox got there. Number 9, though, in particular, Shaq Jones really read that perfectly and got over and forced Joey Cox to go up the middle to be swallowed up by the rest of the IUP defense.
.250 on the clock before we head into halftime. IUP with a 4-score lead. On a rainy day here in Indiana, Pennsylvania.
4 receivers for Gannon, 1 in the backfield.
It's going to be a handoff to Blanks. Gets brought down, bring up a 3rd and 5, maybe a 3rd and 4.
I think they're going to pass it here, and I think it'd be a missed opportunity if you don't pass it for end zone here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got to shoot end zone on this time because you are in kicker range. 4th down comes up.
The bells are playing. That means 3rd down for the IUP defense.
Ooh, there's some movement up front.
I think that was on number 92.
I think it was on IUP.
Yeah.
If that's where you were looking.
Number 92 for IUP. That's Ayub Dale. Ref's talking it over. I think that was on IUP.
Yeah, I'd say there was a bit of movement on the defensive side.
And not the kind of mistakes you could be making.
Oh, no. IUP called a timeout before the play started, so there is no penalty on the play. We'll step aside 30 seconds. We got the final 2 minutes when we come back on WIUP-FM.
Folk music continues to thrive, not only with high-profile acts, but also hardworking, passionate, under-the-radar musicians. Each week, I welcome a musician from the folk world to give deeper insight into the creative minds that observe the human condition from an artistic angle. It's honest conversations with folk musicians you should get to know, and in the process, maybe learn something about yourself. Yeah, it seems complicated, but it's really not. It's Basic Folk with Cindy House.
Basic Folk, Saturday afternoons at 2 p.m. on WIUP-FM.
Miller Stadium. Jake Slebodnick and Jamie Machin. I don't know, I'm trying my best here. From Miller Stadium, Jeff Hart in booth, welcoming you to another installment of IUP Football 2019. 28-0, 2 minutes before halftime. IUP now out of timeouts for the day. That's correct.
I'm not doing my job. I'm not setting myself up right. It's kind of a nice day, though. Even though it's rain, it's probably because we're undercover.
Yeah, probably. I bet any money if we were exposed to nature, we would be saying how much of a bad day it is. But it's always a good day for football as we see number 18, Johnny Freeman, get the pass on 3rd down. I think he's going to be stopped just shy of the 1st. And honestly, if I was Gannon, I'd probably keep my offense out there and go for it.
I think that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if the deficit wasn't 28, I would say maybe get the easy 3 points, but...
And they're taking Joey Cox out.
Wow, very shocking move, especially since Cox has been, the second leading rusher and the leading receiver on the day.
So you got to think QB sneak here or handoff to your running back. But IUP right there getting ready. I think there's a couple whistles going off.
Oh, I think it's going to be a sideline infraction on IUP. Yeah, it'll be a sideline warning.
You got to think for Gannon, handoff to Blanks right down the middle. The center's got to be quick, come up, push to the left, because that's the direction that he's been going to. He's been favoring as Joey Cox comes back in for number 15, Alex Hutchings. I think that's the right move to give that second threat of Joey Cox.
I will say, though, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a handoff to Blanks. He's averaging 3.6 yards a rush, and they only need 1. My goodness, and a lot of stoppage and play as now Gannon's forced to take their first timeout of the half. We'll step aside again for another 36 seconds. 46 seconds on the clock when we come back in WIUP-FM.
This is a public service announcement test from TakeMeFishing.org to determine if you need a fishing license and boat registration before heading out on the water. Let us begin. Are you a bear? Do you have a beak? Do you have plumage? Please tell me you answered no, which means you need to get a fishing license and have your boat registered, because it helps local conservation efforts protect the very natural resources you enjoy boating and fishing in for generations to come. Do your part at TakeMeFishing.org.
.46 seconds on the clock. In the first half of this one, IUP already leading at 28-0. Lots of miscommunication on the field and some mishaps. We saw a sideline warning for IUP, and then we saw Gannon forced to take a timeout. I mean, when you're down by 4 touchdowns, you gotta stop playing and really talk things over and really narrow it down here.
And it looked like the running back coach really lost his mind at Blanks there going into the timeout. I guess they weren't lined up correctly, lined up in a different position this time.
Well, let's see what they do. It's 4th and 2. Back to pass. They'll pass on 4th down. They're going to fire. It's going to be out of the reach of Joey Cox. Fantastic effort. Just got only one hand on it, however, and it'll fall incomplete, and IUP will take over on downs. And if I was IUP, I would just probably take a knee and send it to the half, because they will. I believe they get the ball at halftime.
Personally, I'd go the other way. I'd heave it down the field to get 2 for 14.
All right.
I'd want more points because if I was the head coach, I'd want to be focusing on my national ranking. I'm looking one game at a time. However, I want the end goal to be the best I can make it.
And that's a good way to look at it. You know, either way it could benefit IUP. Maxwell will go under center. So he'll hand it off to Malik Anderson. He gets a little bit of room on the left side, gets a good block, crosses over, and he's going to be brought down at the 40-yard line. IUP needs to hurry up. They are out of timeouts.
Russell Cooper III, number 25 for Gannon. He is about 20, 25 yards, maybe 30 yards away from the snap.
He's looking to pass. Maxwell finds Malik Anderson. And that's not going to help the cause. I think they were trying to make good progress downfield to get Dylan Sarka out there, but that's just not going to work. Malik Anderson was trying to go out of bounds, but the clock's still rolling. 10 seconds to go in the half. Got some good jams coming up for you at halftime, so stick around. Maxwell will spike it. 4 seconds to go, so maybe a Hail Mary coming through.
Be interesting to see how they line up here, to see if they put Dwayne Brown by himself or if they have a screener through route. It'd be interesting to see what they do with that.
If I was IUP, I'd probably balance out your wide receivers on each side, because no matter what you do, you're going to get overpowered. I think Dwayne Brown, they're going to put as much coverage on him as possible, so we're going to see a prevent defense.
And look how deep Gannon's defense is going, really being prepared for that long.
Well, they're going to hand it off to Malik Anderson. May not be what they want as he crosses over, and he'll be brought down at about the 28. And that will take us to halftime with a score IUP 28-0 over Gannon. IUP will return the second half kickoff. But for now, we're going to send it back to the studio. We got some music for you, and we'll join you back in about 15 minutes for half number 2 between IUP and Gannon right here on 90.1 WIUP-FM. The home for IUP Crimson Hawks football is right here on 90.1 WIUP-FM, Indiana. We're back once again here at Miller Stadium, almost the half number 2. We're only a few minutes away. Jamie's enjoying some food over there. But while he does that, we'll look over some stats for the first half so far. Right now, it's been a great game so far for IUP. Can't really say the same about Gannon. Gannon only has attributed on 106 total yards. IUP's has 248. IUP has really excelled in the passing game, as they have had 188 yards opposed to 60 rushing yards. IUP has has 12 first downs opposed to Gannon's 6. They've converted on third down 4 of 7 times. Gannon has only done it 3 of 9. Some stats for individual players. Quentin Maxwell, 16 of 22, 188 yards and 3 touchdowns. Current quarterback rating of 189.5. The rushing attack has been very, I wouldn't say inconsistent, just hasn't really got into gear yet. 3 attempts, 51 yards for Malik Anderson. He's the leading rusher. 17 yards on 1 rushing attempt off the fake punt by Brandon Myers. Although leading the receiving campaign, Dwayne Brown doing it yet again. 5 catches, 62 yards, 1 touchdown, averaging 12 yards a catch. JoJo Gauze, 30 yards, 4 catches and 1 touchdown. And another receiving touchdown by Keyshawn Carter, 1 catch, 28 yards. And that's where we stand right now. IUP with a 28-0 lead. Only 1 defensive touchdown by Damon Lloyd as he returned a pick 6 off Jimmy Keefe earlier on. But, yeah, we're just about a few moments away from getting back underway here at Miller Stadium. Jake Slebodnick, Jamie Machin, and Jeff Hart back in the studio, who spun some underground tracks for you during the half. Thank you, Jeff. Jamie, what's your overall take on this game so far heading into half number 2?
I think IUP needs to do a better job of staying aggressive and not being complacent with what they have, what they earn on the defensive end in terms of offense. In terms of the defensive end, I think they need to attack on the D-line more. They need to be more aggressive and not wait for the running back to come to them at the line of scrimmage. I think they need to attack the quarterback, rush the quarterback, and force him to take bad throws. In terms of Gannon, I think they need to do a more consistent job of running it to the outside with Cox and number 2 Blanks, and just continue that aggressive matchup in the running game.
Yeah, I agree. Melvin Blanks has been really doing something today. 10 carries, 36 yards, averaging 3.6 yards a catch. He's more of a short yardage running back. Joey Cox is really taking a few jet sweeps. IUP will actually be kicking off for the second half. It'll be returned at the goal line by number 85 of Gannon, Jalen Johnson. There's going to be a flag that comes in. He's brought down at about the 26, but this one might be going back a few yards, as this one was thrown back at about the 18.
A lot of jawing still going on from IUP, trying to stay aggressive, trying to stay in the head of Gannon as they are up 28-0.
Yeah, they're... Yes, it'll be a block in the back on Gannon.
And those mistakes, you can't come out the half starting like that. You cannot come out the half with simple mistakes continuing to bring you down.
Yeah, because it just puts your team in a very bad light, and, momentum's already, it's not really on Gannon's side and hasn't been today, but that penalty's definitely going to, worsen things if that's even a possibility at this point.
Yeah, and IUP, once again, in a spread in their defensive stance, got 2 options ready to run deep, but also on man coverage with 3 men, including the quarterback, in the backfield.
Keefe will take the snap. He'll hand it off. Blanks got the carry, and he'll fall down at about the 8. Nick Amendola there to bring him down in the backfield.
Gannon doesn't look ready to come out and compete right now. Their body language just seems defeated.
Yeah, they look slumped over. And normally you see a lot of teams come out in the second half looking ready to, get back into this one, because coaches really put a motivational speech together at the half and haven't really, seen that.
IUP defensive line trying to stay aggressive, attack on those sharp angles, something Gannon's doing really well. Long pass from the quarterback.
Incomplete. Not even in the vicinity of anyone.
Nazir Streeter did a really good job really trying to get down the field for an interception there. Just missed out, though. It's a good amount of hustle play, something you want to see from your defense. Third down and 11, though, for Gannon. Gannon needs to come out right now and maybe not do the most miraculous play, but maybe they need to do something that really causes a bit of a momentum boost, because that's something they need right now.
And I think there's going to be some movement false start on Gannon, it looks like.
93 for IUP. Really enjoyed that. Ernest Shockley.
He's one of the people been enjoying the most for this IUP defense, and they just want to maintain this aggression and stay motivated with this action that they continue. And he does a really good job attacking the center, making sure that he tries to get through and penetrate through to the quarterback.
Back to pass, 3rd and 11. Tipped and incomplete. There's going to be a flag for pass interference, though.
Once again, the ref throwing that really far. I think he needs a highlight tape. About a 15-yard pass from the ref. We're going to find out what the penalty is here. I think we can guess it is going to be defensive pass interference on IUP's number 2, Nazir Streeter. So it's 15 yards. That might make Gannon 1 yard short. Oh, no, I think that's going to give them the first down. The referee going to do the count off now. Nazir Streeter physically upset with that call. I don't think he agreed with it. He made a lot of contact with the receiver. He really pushed his arms down, causing him to drop the ball. So I think that was a good call by the referee. 4-man rush again. 2 men in the backfield. Cute quarterback and number 2, Blanks.
Blanks will get the handoff. Run it over to the near side. He's at the 30. He's getting a few blocks. He's going to be brought down to about the 41.
Great block there by number 55, Killy Smith Jr. Just a fantastic block. Made sure he gave the outside room to Blanks. Gannon lining up now, 4 receivers. Blanks in the backfield. Number 15 for Gannon. That's Alex Hutchings run across flag on the play. But
he's got some room.
Running all the way, first down and more, all the way to about the 25-yard line. Maybe the 30-yard line. Oh, is that all the way back there? Oh, but there's a flag on the play. That's why everyone's going back. I'm going to find out what the flag is here. That's a legal formation on Gannon. It's going to bring it back all the way to the 42-yard line. That's 42-yard line and some more for the penalty. I think that's going to take it back to the 32. Oh, no, it's a 37. I don't know how many yards you lose on certain penalties, but that's a 5-yard penalty. That is 1st and 15 on the Gannon 43. Excuse me.
It'll bring up a 3rd and 15. I apologize. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties here from Miller Stadium. You notice a little bit of a buzzing. I'm not really sure what that is. I went ghost for a little bit, but I think we may have gotten under control now. So now it'll bring up a 2nd and long.
Number 8 for Gannon talking to Streeter. Number 8 for Gannon is Tiger Winston. Been locked up from Streeter all day. Really held him to low numbers, uncharacteristically low for Tiger.
Here we go. 12:35 to go in the 3rd quarter. 2nd and 15. Keefe's going to heave it long, and it's going to be incomplete.
Once again, a lot of jawing from the Gannon bench to the IUP defense. I don't think I've ever seen the IUP defense act the way it's acting, and I'm not disliking it. I really like what I'm seeing. It's an aggressive matchup and is what we need to see from this IUP defense.
Yeah, now they're forced to a 3rd and long situation. 3rd and 15 at 37. Back to pass is Keith. Play action.
Oh, he's running.
Near side. Don't think he's going to get the first, but he'll definitely get out of bounds, and that'll bring up a 4th down.
IUP did a really good job pressuring on the quarterback from the D-line and everybody else rushing. Number 92 for IUP comes off hanging his shoulder. That's already wrapped. Number 92 for IUP. That's Ayub Dale. Had a really good day today, doing a really good job rushing. One of the people that did a good job rushing here today. Gannon set up to punt with 3 blockers in the backfield for the punter.
Kick is away. Brown electing not to return it, and it'll be down by Gannon, number 39. Chris Farnsworth on that. So that's where IUP will set up shop.
Once again, a non-return for IUP on a kickoff. I think Gannon's done a really good job of making sure Dwayne Brown gets frustrated, and he's physically frustrated with what is going on the kick returns because he is not able to show off his skill with the attack and aggression he has on the returning end.
Well, here comes Quentin Maxwell and the IUP offense back out.
Only number 45 joining Maxwell in the backfield. Number 45.
That's Ryan Langdon, I think.
Ryan Langdon, yeah.
Well, hold on. Brown gets a good rush. He'll head up for 5 yards. On the jet sweep, he got it very well.
It's going to be the 33-yard line.
Decent field position, still second and a little bit short.
Brown comes off. Once again, looks frustrated. He hasn't had the best body language in this game today.
Maxwell will hand it off. Looks like Justice Evans will in the carry. He'll get some room on the left side.
He broke some tackles. He's still up. He is going.
Justice Evans, I'll tell you what. There's some strength in that young man right there.
Lawson Payton as well from Gannon. Huge tackle on Justice Evans. Took Justice a second to get up. Complete tackle out of nowhere. Wasn't expecting it. Wasn't able to brace. Great defensive effort, but also great rushing effort there from Justice Evans.
That'll bring up 10:47 left on the clock into the third quarter. And they're going to hand off to Samir Bullock, who gets a decent rush.
IUP needs to make sure they maintain this aggression because it is a scary-looking aggression for a defense to see, because no matter what they do, they are continuing to gain yards.
So Quentin Maxwell will go under center, 2nd and 3. He's going to hand it off to the fullback, Ryan Langdon. Gets a decent amount of yards, about maybe 2. It might bring up a 3rd and 1. Depending on where they spot it.
Quentin Maxwell, since coming out that half, he's been playing under center. It's something we haven't seen a lot. Shows a lot of planned running plays with the fullback for blocking.
IUP gets the first down. I think it's Samir Bullock who got the handoff. We're going to see Dwayne Brown check back in as well as Malik Anderson. Those two come in for Don McNeil and Samir Bullock.
You got to think at this point with Dwayne Brown coming in all alone, all on the numbers, you got to think they're going to pass it here. Fake the run and pass it.
Yeah, we haven't seen a pass play in a few of them. We've seen lots of rushes. 4 straight rushes, actually. Maybe a pass here. Yeah, we will. Play action. Maxwell's going to heave it long, looking for Brown. He's wide open in the end zone.
Oh, he dropped it right in the end zone, right through his hands.
No. Dwayne Brown, that was right in his hands. Well, I mean, the rain is starting to pick up here at Miller Stadium, so that might be one of the reasons why. But, oh, my goodness, one of the IUP's most trusted wide receivers drops it in the end zone.
Physically upset is the only words to describe him right now.
And rightfully so. He had that one, but just dropped out of his hands. Maxwell's going to have to hand it off here. This one to Malik Anderson.
Great moves.
Yeah, I think about a 6-yard gain, let's call it.
See, this is where the lack of maturity is represented in Dwayne Brown. Only a sophomore. He doesn't know how to move on to the next play yet. When he becomes, hopefully soon, maybe next year, maybe the year after, he'll learn how to get rid of that frustration quickly.
So now 3rd and 5. IUP needs to make some magic happen here.
2 receivers on the outside, tight end ready to run.
Gannon showing blitz. Maxwell's going to pass. He's going to heave it long. And that's going to be in no man's land, incomplete. And that'll bring up a 4th down. But I think right now you might be a little too close to punt, too far to kick. I'd keep the offense out there and maybe go for it here on 4th.
No one from IUP looks like they're ready to leave that field yet, and I think Maxwell's telling them that they're going for it.
And Dwayne Brown checks back in as well as Don McNeil. So maybe expect an aerial attack here on the next play. Zach Kelly comes off as well.
If I'm Dwayne Brown, I'm thinking I'm going to go past everybody in my way and just go to the end zone.
Oh, yeah. You need to right now. Back to pass is Maxwell. Screen pass out to Justice Evans. Makes the catch. He's still on his feet.
I think he got it.
Yeah, he gets the first. He's going to be brought down out of bounds. There's some pushing and shoving.
There's a lot of scuffle between the IUP bench and number 25 for Gannon. That's Russell Cooper III. Been in every defensive snap this game, really making sure he's been on Dwayne Brown all day.
Fortunately, no flags on that. There was some extracurriculars on that play. Thank goodness no one got flagged.
Dwayne Brown on the left, JoJo on the right.
Let's see what they do here in pistol form. Maxwell, play action. He's going to pass. He's going to heave it out to the far side for JoJo Gauze. I think he kept his feet in bounds, and they're going to say it's a catch, a 1st down for IUP.
When you have the length that JoJo Gauze has and the skill at the same time, you can do exactly what he just did and continue to fall out of bounds, but contort your body in such a way that you can show both feet going on the ground. He doesn't have to show both feet. He only needs to show one, but that is the amount of skill that JoJo Gauze has.
So here we go, 1st and 10 at the 14 of Gannon for IUP. Looking to score. They're in the red zone. I formation. They're going to hand it off to Samir Bullock. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, he dropped it.
But I think he's going to recover it in the end zone. Arm the cannons anyway. That is, if they count it. Oh, they might say that he's going to be a yard short. Yeah, they'll say he's just short, but Samir Bullock, it looked like he was going to be held back, but somehow powers forward.
And he ran through a human being on that play that caused him to drop the ball. That amount of power between 2 people. And the IUP bench saw the replay, wanted the touchdown.
They're going to hand off to Ryan Langdon, and he's going to power in for a touchdown. Arm the cannons. IUP on the board yet again.
Oh, that one was loud.
Yeah, that cannon always gets you. That always signals an IUP touchdown, however. Dylan Sarker will come out for the extra point. Ryan Langdon, another rushing touchdown. He had one last week, and this week he'll add to that stat column. Now his 2nd on the year. Dylan Sarker out for the extra point now.
If I'm Gannon, I want to start pressing and rushing harder on these PATs because you need to find a way to start breaking down every single team on IUP. They found a way to do it on their offensive side of special teams, and Dwayne Brown, they're doing it to the offensive line. They need to find a way to do it on the defensive end to the IUP defense. I think at that point, Gannon will really start being more of an aggressor in this game.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Gannon handles this. They're already down 35 in the third quarter. Still a little bit of time left, however. Don't forget, in case you didn't know, WIUP-FM does more than play some of your favorite music. This semester, we also have numerous events planned that are free of charge to attend, and some even have free food at them for students, which, of course, everyone loves. First off, we have our Rock Band 4 jam session with the Video Game Club on November 7th, where you can join us for a relaxed night of playing Rock Band in the Hub Susquehanna Room from 7 to 9 p.m. After that, on November 14th, we have our annual event Unplugged, where you can join us for coffee and acoustic music at the Artist's Hand from 5:30 to 8:30. Our next event is going to be the local rap competition on November 19th from 7:30 to 9 p.m. in the Hub Ohio Room, where local artists perform their original music for a spot on the Underground, which is a weekly or a daily show on WIP-FM from 10 to 12. I know Jamie's a part of the Underground.
I am. I read that piece of paper on the Underground last night.
The day after that event, her campus plus WIP-FM will be holding Music Bingo in the Hub Ohio Room from 6 to 8 p.m., when there will be prizes up for grabs. And finally, to finish the semester off, we're holding Final Study Freeze December 2nd from 7 to 9 p.m. in the Hub Susquehanna Room.
I was never good at Guitar Hero.
Oh, I never was either. Maybe on easy mode as we see a kickoff. Stanley will kneel it in the end zone for a touchback, so they'll start off at their 25-yard line. But yeah, if you're looking for more information on those events, make sure to follow our social media platforms at WIUP-FM. That's the only way you can find out about these events.
IUP defense coming back out. The defensive backs and the cornerbacks need to continue to do a really good job of pressing uncharacteristically well for the IUP defense. They need to continue what they're doing, and I think they won't get past the 50-yard line.
If IUP just keeps the momentum going with them, they're going to find some success on defense. As we're going to see a handoff go to number 24, Zevin Hawley. Gets a few yards, maybe 2 on that rush.
And once again, all their, or maybe not all, but the majority of the positive yards for Gannon today have been to a handoff that goes to the outside. And you got to think, where do we make the adjustment if we're IUP's defense? How do we adjust to begin to stop that defense? And I would personally say, bring in everybody towards the line, so meet them at beyond the line of scrimmage.
I would say that as well. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. 6:10 to go in third quarter. Keefe on play action is going to be a quarterback keep. Decent rush, maybe 2 yards, bound to about the 30-yard line.
IUP doing a good job keeping it to only a 5-yard gain in 3 downs, keeping Gannon in their confidence zone, but making sure they do not get that first down or many yards at all.
They only got 5, and IUP has pretty much held them this entire quarter. Very few first downs, because I think they only entered the half with 6, and now they're only up to 8. Keefe is going to play action on third down. He's going to pass. He's going to be brought down for a sack.
That's number 68 for IUP, Dejor Fisher. I believe that's his second sack of the day. Once again, IUP's defensive line is a nationally recognized defensive line at one point in the year. They were leading the nation in sacks per game. They had a game with 22 sacks. At one point, they were averaging 22 sacks. They are a fantastic defensive line as Gannon gets ready to punt here.
I'm trying to look at the stats for Dejor Fisher, but I don't see any unless I'm just not looking at it correctly. Ah, they just added him on here. Yep, there you go. Oh, a line drive kick. Did not get a lot of handle on that one.
Brown picked it up. He dropped it and is recovered by Gannon on IUP's 40-yard line.
Yeah, Dwayne Brown not having the best second half of, pretty much that anyone really wants, is really having some trouble on offense and getting a handle on the ball. And he brings it over the special teams there. And if I was him, I would have just let that one just, drop dead. I mean, you're up by 35. You don't want to give Gannon any easy field position, and that's exactly what he did right there.
I think he had the mindset of everybody was getting ready to leave the field, to change teams, and he wanted to take everybody by surprise, get that extra 10, 20 yards that he is able to do, but he's going to really be beating himself up here.
So Gannon's offense will come back out after the fumble by Dwayne Brown. Keefe and Split Eye will take it. He's going to hand it off to Melvin Blanks.
Great defensive job right there, meeting him right at the line of scrimmage, only giving them a yard gain. That is doing a lot to their confidence as an offense, and that's continuing to just diminish that confidence that they had.
Yeah, it's just a good thing to see how IUP is really rebounding after the turnover. Sometimes it's a big momentum killer. IUP not really set on defense, but they're able to adjust. Keefe looking to air it long, and he finds Joey Cox, but he can't get a handle on it. My goodness, how many times today have we seen star receivers drop the ball? I mean, I can't blame them. It's pretty slick out here with the rain that we're experiencing, but
that should have been a touchdown.
Oh yeah, that
should have been a touchdown.
That was a touchdown pass. But no, that'll bring up 3rd and 9 now.
But Joey Cox staying in the game at the wide receiver position, continuing to be a main target for Keefe.
Keefe and Split Eye. Oh my goodness, what just happened there?
Flag on the play, but I feel like
I hope they don't call Ernest Shockley for unnecessary roughness. Well, that's a new one.
What did he say, snap infraction?
He said a snap infraction. I don't think I've ever heard that called. I'm not... I mean, I've seen where it says false start everyone but the center, but I've never...
But that was just the center. Are you Googling what a snap infraction
Yes,
is?
I've never heard of that before. That's something new. Dead ball penalty that occurs when the center simulates a snap or moves the ball after touching other than when snapped. Wait, I don't understand that.
So it's like a fake snap.
Pretty much. Keefe looking to pass.
Oh, that's a pass.
I would have thought, I don't think they called it because I don't think that was a catchable ball. That was way over Cox's head. If that was in his vicinity, yes, that would have been a huge pass interference on Shaq Jones. But
for those of you that didn't see it, it felt like number 2 Streeter for IUP pushed down and was all over Cox. But as you said, it was over his head, and he had no chance of getting that. But he can jump pretty high. I've noticed that, like, through this game, when he jumps and catches balls, he can get pretty high.
Yeah, that was just a little too high, however. We're going to see a little bit of an adjustment. Malik Anderson will now go back to return the punt. Kick is a line drive kick. It'll sail out of bounds. So Malik Anderson on his first snap as a punt returner for today will not be able to return it. Now IUP will begin at their own 16 with 3:44 to go in the 3rd quarter.
Good job by the defense making sure that Gannon maintains no points, making sure that they try and increase their national ranking. IUP's offense will come back out with
Maxwell still as quarterback.
Malik Anderson in the backfield with JoJo Gauze in the wide receiver position, pressed up all the way by number 5 Darion Jones.
Maxwell's just going to heave it long for the first play to Don McNeil. He made the catch. Oh, no, it's JoJo Gauze, making a fantastic catch on that one. And that'll set up a first down in Golden Knight territory.
Over the shoulder, full stride, great catch, and a perfect throw as well. That's like going back to what you said earlier, the connection between Maxwell and his receivers team. You got to think, would that play have happened if there wasn't much chemistry?
Back to pass again. He's going to heave it along again to Don McNeil this time. He had it, and then he dropped it. Oh, and then there's an injury right at the pylon again, and Golden Knight is down.
Darion Jones.
Oh, and it looks like a leg injury.
He is screaming in pain.
Yeah, we'll step aside while they tend to him. 3:09 to go. 35-0 IUP when we come back on WIUP-FM.
Did you just look down at your phone? You did it again, didn't you? You know, you're flying down the road in a 3-ton hunk of steel, and a text takes your eyes off the road for an average of 5 seconds. At 55 miles per hour, that's long enough to travel the length of a football field and cause some serious damage. Turn it off. Trust me, whatever it is, you'll live.
Learn more at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Welcome back to Miller Stadium. We got some score updates for you while they're still tending to the injured Golden Knight. Slippery Rock up 41-6 over the Clarion Golden Eagles. It's 2 minutes left in the third quarter. That one at Slippery Rock.
Number 5, Darian Jones for Gannon up walking.
Well, that's good. He's jogging off. It looked like maybe a little bit of cramping in his leg because he was writhing in pain on the floor, but able to get up and jog off on his own. Oh, no. It's a little bit of a... Wow, just as he was jogging off, collapsed a little bit. But he's able to, he gets some assistance and he's walking off now. It has to be a cramp or something, or maybe an issue with the ankle.
Anybody that's experienced that cramp mid-game understands the amount of pain and how quickly your leg just gives out.
Well, we wish him the best. Keeping on with the score updates as we get back underway with play. Cal U beating Mercyhurst 20-8. 11:37 to go in the fourth quarter. Maxwell under center. Play action. He's going to air it out. Oh, he's hit as he throws. And that will go out of bounds. It's an incomplete pass. And, yeah, Maxwell took a hit.
Oh, he's down.
Oh, no. Yeah, he was blindsided on that. Slow to get up. He is getting up on his own merit. Might be a little bit of frustration that he didn't get the pass off in time, but could be it. Good game brewing over in Westchester right now where East Stroudsburg trails by 1 to the Golden Rams, 14-13 at the end of the first half. That one, I didn't expect East Stroudsburg to really, bloom as well as they did this year. So kudos to them. Bloomsburg beating Lock Haven 38-0, 15 at the start of the third quarter.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say Shepherd beating Millersville 21-3 at the start of the third quarter as well. Maxwell passes to Brown. He's able to get a handle on this. Breaks a few tackles.
Important substitution there. Dwayne Brown being in for 3 straight snaps after a couple of mistakes today. His first reception since fumbling that punt return for a Gannon recovery all the way down at their own 40-yard line.
So that'll force the punting unit to come out on fourth down.
The IUP offense just doesn't. Right now, their body language isn't positive.
It's I can't even say it's negative either. It's just bland
here.
Vanilla. They're here. They're saying, all right, let's just waste time to get this thing over with.
And when you get to that eye choice, that part of the rankings, that quick eye look at the score, that'll be there. But when they take more specific analyzation of the teams, when they see things like this, their rankings will go down. And because they're not maintaining an aggressive offense, they don't want to continue to put the score up.
Yeah, they're playing to win rather than play to get higher in the rankings. Which, I mean, in some cases that's fine, but if you have a spot of maybe hosting a playoff game, you want to play that and make sure that you're ranked high enough to where you can, and that way you get the home crowd on your side for 100%. Playoff time. But
IUP defense coming back in with a fantastic D-line, been doing really well in the defensive back end, but also the receivers for Gannon have been doing a good job of trying to get off the elite defense, just staying on them the whole time.
Keefe, play action, rolling out to the near side. He's going to fire toward the center, in the vicinity of nowhere. Incomplete. That one intended for number 18, Johnny Freeman.
Important defensive coverage there. IUP is double guarding Joey Cox, making sure he gets no receptions today, recognizing how much of a threat he is.
Yeah, and Joey Cox has been relatively quiet, I'd say, for the past for this entire half. He's You know, he's been a rushing threat. He's gotten the call a few times, but only for minimal gains. Hasn't been really doing much other than that drop pass that would have been a touchdown either way. Melvin Blanks looking to run it here on second down. He'll get the first. He sheds a tackler. He's going to spin out of danger, but he's brought down at about the 48-yard line.
Blindside tackle from behind, full speed from number 92 for IUP. That's Ayub Dale again.
You've been saying his name quite a lot today. One of the more underrated sort of stars for IUP's defensive squad. And now puts him at 2 tackles on the game. First down now for the Golden Knights. Keefe, it's shotgun set. High snap, but he's able to corral it. Hands it off. It's going to be a rush for maybe 1 or 2. Coming from number 24, Zevin Hawley.
Gannon maintaining a solid rushing offense, continuing to penetrate through the middle, trying to get through the IUP defensive line, but IUP staying right there, giving them no yards as much as possible.
Coming up on the minute mark in quarter number 3 of the 35-point contest, 2nd and 8. Keefe takes a snap. Play action, he's going to fire towards the center, and it's deflected, almost picked off.
That's number 44. That is
Brandon Myers.
That is the same person that did the fake punt play, ran for how many yards, leading the game at one point as a linebacker in rushing yards.
Yeah, Brandon Myers now 4th on the team in rushing yards today, only 17 yards on 1 carry, attributing to the team's total 105 yards. But he able just to get in the face of the pass there and knock that one down. Not trying to be too flashy, just simple, short, simple, sweet, and to the point.
3 receivers there for Gannon.
Keefe to pass. He's going to air it out to the left side. It's going to be incomplete. Pass intended for Cox as well. Good pass coverage by Nick Amendola.
I feel like that pass was a little early there. The receiver hadn't finished his route when the ball was about 5 yards away from him. So I feel like, once again, a communication error here at Miller Stadium. Communication has been an issue for both teams today, and I'm not quite sure how they're planning to fix it.
Yeah, I'm not really sure either. It's just been more. I've noticed like a little bit of just generic going through the motions from both squads right now. Haven't seen much uniqueness in play style. It's just been it's just been vanilla play calling, I'd say. Malik Anderson making a fair catch at about the 12. And I was talking with Steve Langdon Jr., who helps us do commentary, but today he's got the day off. He's just enjoying the game from the stands. We were talking during halftime, and he's noticed that IUP has been really stalling on offense. They'd get something going, and then all of a sudden, I wouldn't even say anything really tallied to it. They just flatline. No matter where they are in the field, they stall. I don't know if you noticed that, Jamie, but I think I'm starting to pick up on it a little bit.
I think something that IUP has that not a lot of schools in our conference has is they're very young. They are quite a young team with a lot of mixture. I mean, Dwayne Brown, the star receiver, is only a sophomore. JoJo Gauze is going to be a senior this year. Quentin Maxwell is a senior. But I feel like when you have a younger squad like the offensive line and the defensive line and other aspects of the defensive backs, that's going to happen. They're going to become complacent, and that's something that IUP really needs to work on.
Yeah, and that's been a whole thing. Is like IUP sometimes shows complacency on the field. It happened in basketball last year. I know Jeff Hardy's in booth right now. He really pointed that out in our weekly webisode that we do, the Crimson Conversion, on the Penn Sports Network on thepenn.org. Complacency's always been a big thing, but I think I'm starting to see a new leaf with IUP. When they feel they're becoming complacent, it changes completely. But either way, that'll bring us to the end of the third quarter. The score, IUP 35-0 against Gannon Golden Knights. One more quarter to go. Let's see what can happen. Maybe some more excitement when we come back on 90.1 WIUP-FM.
This is the sound of salmonella gyrating on your undercooked chicken. And it looks like Mom might be taking it out a little early. Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. So use a thermometer to cook each type of meat to the right temperature. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to WIUP-FM. We're just at the start of quarter number 4 between IUP and Gannon. IUP maintaining a 35-point lead going into the quarter. They'll take over on offense, pin in their own territory, 1st and 10 at the 14. Or 2nd and 11, I would say, as Justice Evans was trying to run on that play before the end of the 3rd quarter and got stopped behind the line. Jalen Reese now in at quarterback. He's going to air it out toward the center. K-Shot Carter makes a catch. Oh, my goodness, went airborne, and he comes down with it. Fantastic play by K-Shot Carter to haul that one in.
The main reason K-Shot called that is because he maintained aggressive in the air as well. He did not hunch. He did not turn when in the air. He had perfect posture when catching that ball.
And I'll say this is exciting that we see Jalen Reese, because how many times have we seen this year where him and Quentin Maxwell pretty much match up in the statistical category, and it's honestly really awesome to watch.
Yeah,
watching how he performs alongside Maxwell.
I mean, Jalen Reese, I think he's 18 of 26 on the year. What a fantastic percentage to have.
And especially as a quarterback, too. Normally you don't see that really coming up unless Maxwell suffers an injury. But actually, Jalen Reese coming into this game is 22 for 28.
22 for 20. So
That's
he's
even
only
better.
missed 6 passes but thrown 28 passes. That is a fantastic percentage to have as a quarterback.
And coming into this game, he also has a completion rating of 78.6. He's got 352 yards and 6 passing touchdowns. While he may not play every game, it's actually funny considering. And I was listening to I think it was Jack Benedict on U92 last week during the game against Clarion. He was saying how Jalen Reese was the expected quarterback 1 coming into the season, and then Quentin Maxwell comes out of nowhere out of the transfer portal and then takes the role as quarterback 1. But Reese didn't let that affect him and how he played. He just realized, well, that just means I guess we got to play we got similar play styles, so why not just have another Quentin Maxwell at quarterback too. It's worked very well for him so far. Reese trying to dance out of danger. He gets it away as he's being hit, and it's Zach Kelly with a fantastic catch on the near side.
How far was that? That was about 30 yards, rolling out, running towards the sideline, pressured by about 4 defensive linemen chasing him, got hit as he threw it. But still a fantastic throw from Jalen Reese.
And this goes back to what I was saying about how Jalen Reese and Quentin Maxwell are so similar. They're able to get those passes off in, very high-pressure situations like that one, and he made a good play out of it, too. Kudos to Zach Kelly, though, for making that catch, as he had to come back on the curl route and dive for it. Hauled that one in to perfection. Zach Kelly came into this game having 7 catches on the year for 74 yards. We're going to see, I believe it's Adam Hauser on the run. Yeah, it is Adam Hauser. He had a fantastic game last week, eclipsing over 100 rushing yards and having a rushing touchdown as well. He was the 2nd leading rusher on the team. And here's the best part. He's a freshman.
That's crazy.
We're seeing a lot of young talent on this IUP squad.
We've been seeing a lot of Ryan Landon today at the fullback position, doing a lot of blocking. He's been in most snaps today. That's not something we see a lot from the IUP offense.
It's good to see that they're finally getting an established fullback in there. We haven't really seen that. We don't really see that much in college football, as the pass is just through the hands of Zach Kelly. Jalen Reese hit as he threw.
There was a lot of contact when the receiver number 82 for IUP, that Zach Kelly went up to catch it. Starting to get dark here at IUP. The lights are coming on. New lights as well here at Miller Stadium. I believe this is the first time that IUP football has had to use these lights at a game this year.
I think you're right, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because normally every game day that we've had here at IUP has been perfect weather. Today's been, the more dreary kind. Jalen Reese, the pass, hit as he throws again. Throws to the end zone, it's going to be picked off.
Interception by number
I want to say that's number 29 or 35, one of the two.
I think that was number 39, Chris Farnsworth.
And Farnsworth's had a day on defense. He's been pretty much one of the only guys that has been stable on the defensive side. But this could be a good thing for IUP, too. While it may be an interception for Reese, that's his second on the season, but that puts Gannon at their own 4. So maybe the celebration for Gannon was a bit premature on that one.
I think also that'll humble the offense a little to say we're making mistakes, and they're finally paying for a mistake, which they haven't done a lot today, and this might cause them to concentrate a little more on the offensive end.
They're going to hand it off on first down. Decent rush. It's going to get the first. And Zevin Hawley on the carry. It'll move the chains. Clock will continue to roll. Surpassing 11 and a half minutes left.
A lot of frustration on the IUP bench. A lot of just attitudes you don't want to see from a team that's winning. Looking at their bench, you just don't think they're winning right now by so much.
Now the energy's very low right now. Hard to really build something when the energy's that low. So we're going to see a run again by Gannon, by Hawley.
Pushed all the way back by number 1, Taval Brown for IUP.
They will give him 2 yards, however, on the carry. And Hawley didn't actually go down. It was just they whistled the play dead. I think the entirety of the defensive squad on his back trying to get him down.
It's just pure strength. Wind is starting to pick up here at IUP, going towards Gannon's direction as Gannon does throw it.
Yeah, pass by Keefe is going to be incomplete, intended for number 18, Johnny Freeman. Hits off the shoe of one of the defenders.
That's third down for Gannon. Once again, only 3 yards in 3 plays. Doing a really good job for the IUP defense. And most tackles on this drive have been caused by the defensive linemen.
Keefe in shotgun set. He's going to drop back to pass. Aaron it long. And it's going to be incomplete. There's going to be a flag
on the
for
play.
Pass interference on Nazir Streeter. And I think that's rightfully so. There was some heavy contact on that pass attempt.
That's his second pass interference of the day. And they haven't been light ones. They've been all over them.
We've seen some very aggressive play by Streeter all day. There's going to be a discussion. I didn't think there would be this much discussion on it.
Streeter's coming out. Replacing Streeter is number 5. That is pass interference for number 2, Nazir Streeter. Mikhail Lang replacing Nazir. Trying to look for more aggressive defense with less flags when covering the receiver.
So now a new first down following the pass interference on Streeter. They'll rush it. This one, Foley again.
Rush.
Yeah, gets away from defenders. And he's brought down out of bounds. They'll still be on Gannon's side of the field. I think he was pushed out at about the 49-yard line.
That's not something we've seen a lot of today. A Gannon first down. Just not being overly aggressive today, not getting past their own half a lot of the time today.
Clock now at 10 minutes to go in the game. Seems like the second half has just gone on forever.
It does, and I think that's just the lack of energy.
That's
in
what I
the
was going to say,
second half.
Yeah. I mean, the teams are playing pretty well. It's just there's no energy. Most of the crowd is left because, the rainy temperatures and the cold temperatures, understandably so. But, yeah, normally Miller Stadium's really enthusiastic and filled with joy. But, this dreary weather really took a hit, or made the crowd take a hit. No energy at all, and it's just making it feel like this game is just going on and on.
Maybe they're getting ready for the Penn State game.
I know that energy might have been sucked out of the air because of the Pitt game. I know it took some energy out of my game. As we see a pass by Keefe, it's going to be completed. They'll get the first. That was number 8, Tiger Winston.
Another name we've seen a lot in this second half, trying to be an aggressive leader for IUP. However, number 8, I believe that was Tiger Winston. He is down right now as the officials take a timeout.
Yeah, an official. Not sure why.
Because Tiger's down over there by the
I didn't
chains.
even see that.
I believe he's up now, needs help, is not putting pressure on that one leg, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't really see much happening on that play. And I think IUP was trying to talk with their sideline a little bit, but 2 referees just got in the way and said, no, you're not able to do that. I'm not quite sure why, but we're back ready to play. Clock starting to roll again at 9 minutes. Keefe hands it off. Hawley once again with the run.
What power to have as a running back.
Yeah, he's going to get a few yards.
He's dragged 3 people with him for 3 yards. What a fantastic just technique and power to have.
I think number 95 for IUP, Drake Puffenbarger, will set out for a little bit. Looks like he's favoring that left arm on the sideline.
Refusing help from the trainer as well.
Yeah, it might just be a thing where he has to shake it off. There's going to be a whistle. I think someone may have taken a timeout. Yeah, IUP took a timeout prior to the snap. So the clock will stop at 8:20, 2nd and 2. When we come back, 35-0 IUP leads here on 90.1 WIUP-FM.
It's Practical Polly Radio. I've switched to cooking with healthier oils. So now what do I do with all these tubs of lard? Skinny jeans feeling too tight? A bit of lard on your hips and thighs and those pants slide on like a dream. So there's no need for that lard to go to waste. But get your best heart-healthy trade-up with healthier oils like canola, olive, or other vegetable oils, which can actually lower your chances for heart disease. Learn more at heart.org/Face the Fats. Canola Info is the national supporter of the American Heart Association's Face the Fats campaign.
Welcome back to WIUP-FM's coverage of IUP Crimson Hawk football. IUP up 35-0 as they were forced to take a timeout. 8:20 to go in regulation. IUP pretty much all but solidifying the win in this one unless Gannon can pull off a major comeback. Man in motion. Keefe takes a snap. He's going to hand it off to Hawley. He's going to get the first. And a little bit more. So Gannon resets on downs again. That'll now be their 14th first down of the game.
Something, if you said in the first half, I wouldn't have believed because they just weren't being as aggressive the majority of the time. But really trying to attack this IUP defense.
I really anticipated more of a high-scoring contest between these two teams. I'm surprised it's only at 35-0 right now.
And to match the last home game against Cal is so hard to have because of 2 amazing teams.
Keefe will take it himself. He was rolling out the pass, but I think he'll just go back to the line of scrimmage, it looks like, maybe get a yard or 2. But, I mean, yeah, it's kind of hard to match, the energy around the Cal U game. It was homecoming and the Coal Bowl, and IUP won. It seems like that's where all the energy went to. Now it's just more you're getting into the later part of the schedule, and you're facing opponents that, when you look at the records, you don't see much competition, and so there's not much, fear or, need for that, I guess, more motivational feel. I mean, as we saw today, IUP averaged 14 points in each of the first 2 quarters. Keefe will hand it off to Hawley. He finds a little bit of hole on the right side, sheds a few tackles. He's going to be brought down in the red zone, down at about the 11-yard line.
Well, a lot of Gannon's games, the ones that they've begun to come back, or one time even won, has come from long and pressurized stretches in the fourth quarter, attacking defensive teams that have been doing really well. Only 10 yards to go. I think they're going to score here.
I think they could, too. They've been making some great progress down the field. They've definitely looked like a new Gannon team, something that we haven't really saw all day.
And you know who we haven't seen in a while? Joey Cox.
Yeah, we haven't seen him really. They've been sticking more with a ground attack. As we see right there, Hawley will get another carry. But yeah, you mentioned it. Joey Cox, we haven't really seen much of him, and when he is on the field, he hasn't been utilized as much. And I'm surprised they're going with more of a running attack, considering they have some. They could possibly come back. But the more they use these rushing plays, the less likely that becomes.
And you know what they're doing right now? They're doing a lot of rushing through the middle, not towards the sideline. I feel like they should be doing more rushes towards the sideline, so in case the ball does go out of bounds, that clock will stop and they have more time to operate with.
Clock continue to roll, under 6 minutes to play. And Gannon will be forced to take a timeout to talk things over. Coach arguably upset, and that'll force him to talk things over. 5:53, the clock is stopped. 35-0 IUP leads it when we come back on 90.1 WIUP-FM.
Oldies from the mid-50s through the mid-60s. You know, the good stuff. I'm Jim, inviting you to join me for the Oldie Zone this Sunday at 6 p.m. for 2 hours of some of the best music ever recorded. Heard exclusively right here on your alternative source, WIUP-FM Indiana.
Back here in the fourth quarter of play, 35-0 IUP with the lead, 5:53 to go. Gannon forced to burn a timeout.
Starting to get cold out here.
Yeah, let me see if I can get an accurate temperature. Well, my phone says it's at 52 degrees, but I beg to differ.
I say that your phone's lying.
Yeah, I would say so as well. It's either that or it's just a feel temperature of about 30-something. It feels pretty cold out here. Keefe in the empty set backfield, shotgun set. Back to pass. And he's going to be brought down. I believe that's DeJour Fisher in the backfield, able to bring him down.
Once again, it's that defensive line being patient but maintaining aggression. That is why they are a nationally recognized defensive line, and they are talked about a lot when you talk about Division II defense and what that should look like. Joey Cox coming into the game.
Yeah, it's about time we see him. We haven't really seen him much. Maybe we see a pass play coming up, because it seems like whenever there are pass plays, that seems to be who Keefe would go to in these sort of situations. Well, he's going to send Cox in motion. Keefe takes the snap. He's dropping back to pass. Can't find an open man. Running over to the far side. He's going to air it to the end zone. And just out of reach of everyone, it's going to sail out through the back of the end zone. Incomplete. And that'll bring up fourth down.
Just a lot of miscommunication there, but there was a great job by Keefe rolling out, trying to go straight to the corner, give himself more time to be patient and find an open receiver, but at the end just throwing it over everybody's head there.
It looks like they may keep the offense out on the field, try to go for it, put up some points. This is 4-down territory after all. Let's see what they can do.
The IUP football team starting their own chant there.
And in motion. Back to pass is Keefe. On fourth down, he airs it to the end zone. That's going to go into no man's land, incomplete.
Intended for Joey Cox, and you can't be surprised that that's who they were aiming for. Great pressure by the defensive team and the defensive back. Number 1, Table Brown for IUP, staying on Joey Cox the whole route.
Yeah, so now IUP will take over on downs. And you got to think now is just garbage time. Waste as much time as you can and try to steal a shutout. If you ask me, I think shutout may help out a lot more in these national ranking situations.
You know, a lot of teams may have one loss, but you got to think at the top of the rankings, they're trying to maintain that undefeated streak, and there's more that counts to it, but that's the opening factor. And IUP's past that opening factor, and they got to focus on the score.
Play was whistled dead. It was a running play for Adam Hauser with it. Fans wanted a unnecessary roughness in the end zone. But I think it was just the momentum taking everyone down with it, and that'll bring up second down. But that'll keep the clock rolling, though. 4.5 minutes to go in the game.
Long snapper continuing to practice. Looks like they're getting ready to snap for a punt.
Well, you got to think if they're going to punt, you try to make as much forward progress as possible. Coming up on the 4-minute mark, 2nd and 14. They're going to hand it off once again. May have gotten a yard on that rush. Keeps the clock rolling, however.
Gannon's defense continuing to show aggression and not allowing anybody to attack through the middle, something we didn't see a lot of in the first half, and they really turned that around, mostly in the fourth quarter, though, not so much in the third.
It's been more fourth quarter play that we've seen from Gannon. Still haven't any points to show for it. Reese will drop back to pass on 3rd and long. Gets it off to McNeely, makes the catch. Goes out of bounds, and IUP will reset on downs. Excellent play by Reese to McNeil to reset the downs and give them more of an attempt to wind this clock down.
But falling out of bounds, stopped the clock, called for clock to play now because the play clock is running. Gannon's still showing a bit of zone blitz, being prepared to defend the long pass.
Well, they're going to hand it off on 1st down. It's a few yards, under 3 to play.
Kashaw Carter and number 39 for Gannon, that is Chris Farnsworth, really getting into it. There had to be separated by the head referee.
Yeah, they weren't even near the site of the action. That just goes to show the grit between these two teams and that they do not like each other, will not tolerate it at all. And you got to think Gannon's really, in their emotions right now, down 35, may not score. It's going to be hard for him here.
IUP looking to have, it looks Samir Bullock in the backfield. Probably looking to rush it through down the middle.
Yeah, they'll give it to him. Jukes a man, gets a few yards on the rush. There's some action near the IUP sideline as number 39 again, Chris Farnsworth, pushes Zach Kelly into his own sideline. Not even near the action. We're seeing a lot of high-end emotion in this game.
And I think at this point it's just pure frustration. And you don't, as a fan, you don't want to see the unnecessary aggression from a defense when you're losing like this. It's not something you need to see.
We're at 1.5 minutes to go. He invites you to stick around after the game. We'll actually have a few post-game stats and comments before sending it off into the night. Kashaw Carter on the screen pass. Gets it. He should have gotten the first. He will. And I think now that 1st down is sealed, I think it's time to go into victory formation.
It looked like carnage when they finally called it down by the IUP sideline.
And they will go into victory formation, so chalk this one up as a win for IUP. They'll win it 35-0 and go on a 2-game winning streak and improve to 7-1 on the season. Gannon will demote to 2-6. IUP, hopefully this one will move them up in the national rankings. Number 19 right now. Pay attention to IUP Athletics to see where they stand following today. We'll step aside for a few seconds. When we come back, we'll analyze some post-game stats and analysis, and we'll send it off into the night. You're listening to WIUP-FM.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared.
It's like tiny nails in the air poke my lungs.
I start to cough.
I feel like I'm choking.
Sometimes my parents have to take me to the hospital.
You know how to react to their asthma attacks. Here's how to prevent them. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor, because even one attack is one too many.
I feel like a fish with no water.
Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
Back here at Miller Stadium on Frank Cincinnati Field, IUP solidifying another victory this year, improving to 7-1 over the Gannon Golden Knights. I'll tell you what, Jamie, it was a fantastic game. If you had to hand out a player of the game nod, who would you give it to?
I'll probably say Justice Evans doing a really good job rushing the whole game. He managed to find open holes throughout the whole game, attacking through IUP's offensive line, doing a good job separating there, and never being complacent throughout the game. I saw a couple players for the IUP team looked quite complacent throughout the game, looking okay, being up as much as they were, but I don't think Justice Evans was one of those people. I think a lot of the running backs in this game today would be that, and I think if we had to recognize a team that did the best today, I'd have to say IUP's defense, just doing a fantastic job, not only keeping Gannon to a scoreless game, but also making sure they did not do anything more than stay within those 10 yards most of the time. I think they got maybe they had to pass their own half a couple times, and that is purely because the aggression of the IUP defense.
Yeah, I'd agree with you for there. I'm going to have to give mine to Damon Lloyd for that pick six that he had. He was definitely a good X factor on defense. A few key tackles plus that pick six. Really a good game for him on the defensive side and helping IUP solidifying a shutout victory against the Gannon Golden Knights. Next time IUP Crimson Hawks will be in action will be next week as they travel to Seton Hill in Greensburg. Kickoff time will be at 12 o'clock, on air at 11:30. We won't be on air. Next time we will be on air will be the week after, November 9th, when we come back home for the final home game of the year against Edinburgh. Kickoff time at 12. We'll be on the air 15 minutes prior with our pregame show. But, I mean, Jamie, that'll do it for all of us IUP, giving themselves their 7th win in Gannon, their 6th loss of the year. As for everyone here, I've been Jake Slebodnick alongside Jamie Machin, along with Jeff Hart in booth, and we will see you next time against Edinburgh here on 90.1 WIUP-FM. Have a fantastic weekend.